Are we live? Are we on the air?
How...
We're doing the thing. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Wisdom Saves, the campaign that, goodness, I will be unnamed until the day that we eventually get taken off the air forcibly for saying bad words.
No.
Am I centered? Hold on. Which way do I need to go?
Bad words.
This way. I can keep moving.
I move my camera so much and I'm only like halfway on the screen.
Yeah, I know, I'm slipping off the edge. Wait, no! Which way? Which way?
There we go.
Yeah. Apparently they cannot
I
keep...
can't hear you either.
Barrows.
She's managing so much with the stream right now. Don't worry, you take care of that. We'll go ahead and do the introductions in the meanwhile. I'm Dom, I'm the Dungeon Master. This is the campaign that will not have a name until it comes to its tragic and surprisingly fast end. Let's go ahead and introduce our players. And we've got a different order this time. We'll start from the top left. Brynjael, why don't you kick us off?
Hello everyone, I'm Alishiera. I'm playing Brynjael. She is an Oath of Ancients paladin and a very good Goyle.
Love it. Eminence.
Hi, I'm Nicole. I'm playing Eminence, who is a tiefling warlock who is just a messy bitch.
The classics. Oriana.
Hi, I am Maleficent. I play Oriana, who is also a tiefling. She is Eminence's older sister, and she's also a messy bitch, but in a much more subtle way.
So are we saying like Eminence is like she's a messy bitch, but Oriana's like a messy bitch? Like is the emphasis?
Yeah,
That's exactly.
definitely the emphasis on bitch.
Okay. And continuing around, Natalie.
Oh, right. Every time gets me. I am Natalie. Every time. And I'm playing... Wait, I'm Burrows and I'm playing Natalie, who is a half-orc barbarian. She's wholesome as heck and is my first character, so don't be mean to her or I'll cry. She won't. She'll probably punch you.
I love the mood of like being your character.
Yeah.
Nobody's allowed to be mean to Natalie. It's the law.
If anyone's mean to Natalie, they immediately burst into flame.
True,
Bye, Oriana.
Eredan.
Hello, I'm playing Eredan. He is a elvish bard who is a man on the run.
And Aery.
Hello, I am Kat, and I'm playing Aery, who is a bisexual elf sorcerer disaster.
Love it. Awesome. So let's go ahead and get started. Last we left our definitely not heroes. They entered into a town called Goldford, all for their own different, separate, and individual reasons. And they were captured by some local thugs and were set up to be framed to take the fall for what was supposed to be some sort of large magical disaster within the city. However, the party was able to get to the bottom of the plot, brought their information to the local mayor and police force of the town of Goldford, and after some suspicious activity from the mayor and his followers, decided that perhaps their efforts would be better spent leaving town. They discovered that oh my god, your Discord image notification is absolutely amazing, Burrows. Her icon is just amazing. We got to see if we can get it on chat at some point. But that's going to make an amazing emote. Upon trying to leave the town, they decided not to confront the wizard who was plotting this whole terrible disaster, and they were able to make it out of the town into the forest beyond just as the disaster began. Now, as a result, countless people within the town of Goldford have died, and the party is each dealing with that in different ways. That said, they didn't stay a party for very long. It's been a year since that fateful day that they've left Goldford since then. And the party's kind of split up. Everybody has taken some time to work on personal projects. Who of the six of you was probably the first to split off from everyone else?
Probably Eredan, right?
I'd say Eredan.
Yeah, I'd say probably me. I was already shifty and nervous at night, so probably made a run for it.
Yeah, Eredan didn't last too many days with the party and ended up splitting off to pursue his own ends. Shortly thereafter, I think Natalie found a suitable place to take a bit of a break from the rest of the party with the agreement to the rest of the party to meet up eventually, whenever that may be. I believe Bryn also split off from the rest of the party to do, according to my notes, general do-goodery. And the remaining three, Eminence, Oriana, and Aery, found themselves getting into a whole heap of trouble, which we will certainly get to. But for now, we're going to split the party into 4 separate groups and find out what the party did over their year apart, when they got to level up from level 3 to level 6. What exactly happened in that downtime? So I'd like Eredan, Natalie, and Bryn to go ahead and roll a d20, and one person from the Aery, Eminence, and Oriana to also roll a d20.
Who rolls best? Not me.
Right, we're just doing a
Used some
straight.
luck last time.
Yeah,
I
we're
just
just doing
jinxed it,
straight
but I'll
rolls.
give it a try.
I believe it.
Or is Mel rolling? Oh, cool. All right.
No, Mel's not. You're rolling. It's all on you.
Okay, what everybody get? I hear the sound of dice rolling, but there's a lot of very quiet people right now, which makes me think it's yeah.
Straight rolls?
Just straight rolls.
Okay. 2.
9.
2, okay. And that was a 9 from Eminence?
No,
An
9 from-
18.
Oh, an 18 from Eminence. Okay. Who got the 9?
I did. Just realized probably
Yes,
weren't looking at
Natalie?
Discord. I'm just sitting here with my hand up, like.
No. And Eredan?
4.
4. Okay. So we'll start off with the fun bunch. Eminence, Oriana, and Aery. The 3 of you found yourselves separated from the rest of the party a few weeks after Goldford. You left to the east. There was a small village called Grey Hill, which, as far as villages go, it's one of those villages where only the local population know the name of the town, less than actually having a name on a map. However, further to the east is a much larger city of Oseron, and much, much further to the east there is, I can't even read my own handwriting, Frovale. To the north there is Andapolis, which is a large trade empire on top of a river. To the west, opposite Goldford, there's Ulsan, a very militaristic town. Which of these towns do you think the 3 of you headed for, or did you go to a town at all?
We definitely would have gone to like a city, so like one of the bigger ones. Not the military one, because that sounds like a bad place to get in trouble.
Yeah.
What do you guys think of like the merchant city? This seems like a lot of bad people for us to still
I
ship
like the
from.
idea of the merchant city because there's also going to be some good shopping.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Awesome. So the 3 of you made your way to the north towards the town of Andapolis. Andapolis is a large walled city on the Blue Line River that runs east to west. It is one of 2 sister cities. Further to the west of Andali, next to the Blue Hole Lake, which is named for its unnaturally blue waters, there is Andali, which was the first city, which they are very proud to remind people of, but significantly smaller because it's built in the marshlands adjacent to the lake. However, further inland, there's Andapolis, the large metropolis trade city that runs on the north line from Goldford, well, what was the north line from Goldford on top of that river, and the 3 of you got into a little bit of trouble. Now, I have written in my notes what type of trouble the 3 of you got into, but I just want to hear it from the horse's mouth, what you guys were planning to do once you made your way into this large trade metropolis.
We're here to eat the rich.
Yeah, we're gonna eat some rich people. But no, our general plan was sort of just that we would like run like small scams on rich people and just like scam them out of a bit of their money and mess with them a bit.
Okay.
Nothing like too serious, but like also just fucking with rich.
Okay. Trying to scam them out of their money. I love it. So the three of you find yourselves a couple of months later sitting in a beautiful, lavishly decorated bedroom. There are satin couches across from a broad fireplace, beautiful paintings across the wall. The bookshelves are filled with rare and often sought after tomes. On the table is polished oak with a silver tray containing several different cups of tea, which some of you are partaking in. The fireplace is roaring warmly as it's raining outside, and Eminence, Aery, and Oriana, the three of you are just sitting and having a chat as you are around this fireplace. What are the three of you talking about in this beautiful sitting room?
Well, I think that I don't know if this has changed, but originally we were saying that probably Oriana wasn't like directly involved in the stuff that we were up to. She was just sort of like perhaps Eminence didn't even know that she was there, and she was just
overhanding,
like save our ass on things. So it's not that she wouldn't necessarily be around, but I think for like most of the operation,
sure.
Eminence didn't even know that she was involved.
Gotcha.
Very much
So
Oriana has been pretending that she has no idea what's going on.
So in that case, we'll say Eminence and Aery, the two of you are sitting and just having a chat in front of this fireplace. It's raining outside. Oriana, you went out to procure some dinner for the other two. So Eminence and Aery, then, what are the two of you talking about?
Probably just how great we are. Just like counting money and like jewels and stuff, like even if they're just like tiny and it's not that much, but we're like very impressed by ourselves.
Yeah.
Compare jewels and sort of choose, I'll give her the ones that go with her skin tone, like the warmer coloured ones, and she'll give me the cooler coloured ones because that matches the purple more, and just kind of...
As the two of you are trading these gems back and forth, you hear a clinking from the corner, and turning over onto the other side of the room is a massive 4-post bed. And currently, with his arms bound up in bed sheets and a large, broad sort of gag in his mouth, is a human man, relatively handsome, relatively attractive. He has no shirt on. He's just in his boxers right now, and he's just kind of hanging from the post and kicking feebly. Do you guys do anything? You just let him hang there?
It's be like, oh, quiet you.
He'll calm down after a while. They always do.
He finally spits out the gag a little bit. And, why are you doing this?
I don't know. It's kind of fun, though, don't you think?
Yeah, it's a bit exciting.
It's really not. Are you going to kill me?
Oh, no.
We haven't decided yet, but probably not.
Sorry, that one hesitated. He kind of like points with one of his fingers.
To Eminence or to Aery?
To Aery, I think you hesitated.
Oh, okay. Just be like, well, you never know how things will go.
I knew it was.
At this point, you hear banging on the large wooden double doors that lead into the entrance of the chamber, and a voice calls in, "Everything all right in there?" And at this point, the man starts hollering and yelling, "Oh no! They've tied me up! They're trying to take the jewels!"
Let me check my spells quickly.
Yeah, I was doing the same thing. I would like to cast Deafness towards the door.
Deafness?
Well, it's blindness/deafness.
Okay.
Blind or deafen a foe. Ooh. Choose a creature that I can see. I
do not think you can see this creature because he's on the other side of the door.
Yeah, damn it. Well, there goes that idea.
I'm like, do you have any useful spells here? I don't think I do.
Okay, after a few moments of yelling and shouting between the two, the door suddenly rocks in a little bit, and you see that the lock probably isn't going to hold all that long.
Okay,
Well-
I'm going to cast Mind Spike on the guy we have tied up.
Sure.
Which does so he has to make a wisdom saving throw.
Sure.
And if he fails,
He fails.
okay, he takes 3d8 psychic damage. But
Okay.
but I can keep doing that, I think. Oh no, it just means I keep thinking this is a spell I can like keep doing it every turn. Basically, I don't want to kill him. I just wanted to. It's more damage than I remembered it being.
Yes, it's 3d8, and he's just a guy.
Yeah, I thought that it was like small damage, but I got to keep doing it. So actually, I don't want to do that because I don't want to kill him.
Okay. There's a moment where you start casting a spell, and then you just like hesitate, and he goes really quiet as he just watches the magic fade.
Yeah, I just want to threaten him.
All right, if she does that, I just stand next to her, like,
Yeah, I was. Look, if you play along and get us out of here, then I can promise you that we won't kill you, and maybe we'll give you some of your stuff back. Maybe. But if you don't play along, then we'll have to kill you both. And we may look very soft, but we will kill you.
Oh god. Go ahead and make an intimidation check.
Okay, my intimidation is. Oh, it's not too bad. 13 plus.
Ooh. 4? 17, yeah. He goes quiet and he looks at you and
Okay, it's all just a little bit of roleplay. You got too into it. Now just settle down and let us take care of this. Just agree with whatever we say.
just leave the vault.
We will kill you.
Just leave the vault. You can take the gems, just leave the vault.
The vault? There's a
There's a
vault.
vault?
He looks at the two of you and no, nothing. Sorry. Shit.
all right, we'll leave the vault. Now about the guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shout.
Okay.
The guy at the door, he's still pushing towards the door.
Okay. So this guy has agreed to play along. I'll go and unlock the door.
Okay. It kind of like pushes in. You just unlock the door and turn the handle a little bit, stepping aside. And a moment later, bursting through the door is what looks to be a full-blooded orc bodyguard. He's wearing like a black suit, black tie, black dress shirt, and he just tumbles into the room and immediately falls over. He was expecting there to be resistance, and he quickly gets up, sees the human noble tied to the bed, and whirls around to see you at the door. And holds up a menacing fist position. He does like the Henry Cavill loading his fist, like, and says, "What's going on in here?"
No need for that. This is a little embarrassing, but you may have stumbled in upon kind of a delicate situation. I'm not sure if you're needed here, but you could join in, I suppose, if he's okay with it.
His whoa. the stream meister just fat fingered a button. Love those. He looks across the room over towards the noble, and the noble looks back at him and says, again tied up, "Everything's fine. Just go feed the dogs. We'll be finished shortly." And he kind of looks to the two of you.
Sure. Well, you're paying
Okay.
for it, so.
Yes.
We'll be finished shortly. And the guard again takes his fists and slowly lowers them down and just grunts and walks out of the room. He does close the door behind him.
Oh,
Go ahead.
Okay.
no, I was gonna make a joke.
Okay.
I'll just slide over and sort of latch the door behind him.
Yep. Is there anything else the two of you would like to do in this noble's chambers as he's tied up?
Yes, well, I think that's about our cue to leave.
I would say so. Does he have any jewelry left on his person? Any like rings or necklaces or anything?
He does not. You guys have plucked all of the rings off of his fingers. He had like a fine gold necklace as well. Next to his bedside, there was a jewelry box that was filled with gems, which was what the two of you were sort of going through. There's a wardrobe full of nice clothes. Again, there are rare books along the walls. This is a bedroom that speaks of wealth. You get the sense that if you took some time, you could probably like look through the books. You could look around at some of the art. Maybe there are some small different statues up on the library bookshelves that look like they're made very nicely. You get the sense that if you want it, you could take the time and look for more wealth.
None of that sounds like stuff that Aery would want to carry, so probably
Fair. I might whisper to Aery. Do you have any way of putting him to sleep?
Oh, do I? Perhaps?
I mean, we could hit him, I suppose.
Yes, but none of us are particularly good at that. No, I don't have a sleep spell.
Are we interested in this vault?
I didn't say anything about a vault.
I think that you did.
I don't think I did.
I'm pretty sure that you did.
I definitely recall something being said about a vault.
Yes, me too. Well, if you theoretically did have a vault that we weren't going to steal from because we kind of promised, and you were very well behaved, and we appreciate that, what would it be?
I don't know what you're talking about. He's very like you don't even have to make an insight check. He's very clearly like trying to not say anything.
Is there anywhere around the room that he's trying like to specifically not look at?
For that, I'll have you make an insight check.
Okay. I don't know, put my d20 away. Oh, I thought it was a 1, but it's a 7. But I have +6 on insight, so.
Ooh, okay. I will make a roll for him. Now I need to look it up because, of course, I do. He got exactly a 13, so I want to double check his stats if he has any pluses or minuses. Where are the NPCs? The other book. Yes. +2. So with a 15, you're not able to read. So you got a 13, he got a 15. You are not able to read him. He's doing his best to keep his eyes on the floor right now.
Okay.
Just generally not looking at the room.
I'm assuming a room like this would have some artwork in it, wouldn't it?
Yes.
I'd like to just walk along the walls and sort of admire the pieces and just kind of like, just shuffle them a little bit and tilt them and see if
literally the first painting that you go to on top of the fireplace, you move it aside and you can see like a large section of the wall has just been cut out. Like you can move it half an inch and you're like, oh yeah, and then just pop it off. And there is embedded into the wall a massive metal vault. You can see a large tumbler with a handful of different numbers on it.
A vault.
Is this the vault you were talking about?
I have never seen that before.
You're a bad liar. You should know that.
The painting that you took off of the fireplace was like a painting of him, like so very clearly at some point someone painted that painting and he put it there.
Would you like to tell us the code? It could save you quite a bit of pain.
I would rather not. At this point, the two of you hear as running down the hallway, you hear many sets of footfalls just quickly running towards the door.
The dogs was a cover for something else. We should have left when we could have.
Almost immediately afterwards,
something.
It doesn't seem like
This is what we need to work on, okay? It's the communication part of the job.
say that we should leave.
All right.
I just didn't say about the dogs and stuff, you know?
Okay, we'll talk about this later.
There is banging on the door. Open up! And again, the mass smashing into the door. He says, you could have walked away. You could have left at any time.
Still maybe can, at least we intend to.
Oh, I don't think so. There are. You are on the second floor. It is raining outside. Massive, large bay windows that are currently closed.
Can I pick something up and throw it through the window?
Oh, absolutely. Well, you've got teacups, the teapot. You've got the gems in your hand. There's like a statue of a cat up on the library. Yeah.
I don't know if throwing a teacup at a bay window is going to break it. Probably he would try. Maybe throw a teacup
without trouble.
And then the statue.
Yeah, without trouble. It's a teacup. Bink! Bounces off. The cat just goes right through, and almost immediately rain starts coming in through the wind of the window and just making the marble floor a little bit more difficult to stand on. But now the window is open. And as you throw the cat out the window, the guy's like, "No, that was my mother's."
Oh, sorry about that. But you brought this upon yourself.
Aery, how much can you take care of yourself? Because I have Misty Step.
I also have Misty Step. See, this is where the synergy comes in.
All right,
Shall we
I'm
away?
assuming we've done this before. Can we just like clasp hands and have we rehearsed like a team rocket blasting off again?
I jump into the air and then cast Misty Step.
I would
have a catchphrase.
Yeah, you two tell me, Eminence, you are outside of this noble's manor, and the two of them have gone in to do what they do. However, you did notice the guards coming out to the front. You saw that same full orc in a black suit come out and talk to some of the guards, and then immediately a large group of them all went into the house at the same time. So you know that things are getting spicy in there. What would you do upon seeing that?
Honestly, I'm so tempted to just let them deal with it. But I feel like I would assume that they can probably get out, but may need my assistance for leaving.
Sure. So there's probably like a coffee house directly across the street, like a little cafe. I imagine you're sitting under an umbrella just sipping tea as you watch the manor from across the street. And it's at about this point that you can see what looks like a teacup bounce against a window. And then a second later, a golden cat just breaks through from the window, and you can see Aery and Oriana's face peering out.
And then we remember we didn't have to break the window because we have Misty Step.
Also, I'll just point out you've got us flipped. I'm Eminence, she's Oriana.
Sorry, other way around. Yeah. Sisters!
Sorry.
Aery and Eminence peer out of the window. Oriana, you're at the coffee table. Yes. Do you do anything?
I think I'm gonna go fetch that cat.
Sure. It landed in the lawn. There's like a small iron fence, and currently the guards that would normally be watching the garden that leads to the manor itself are inside of the house, presumably chasing Eminence and Aery.
So it's inside the grounds?
It's just in the grass in the garden. Like, you can walk up and just grab it, but you'll have to walk through the rain.
I have an umbrella. Oh, it's a cafe umbrella. Rain, whatever. I'm going to get close-ish and then mage hand myself the cat.
Nice. It just lifts up into the air. The two of you now at the window. So what's your tag team combo to get out of there? Just Misty Step down into the garden and yeet the heck out?
Yeah.
Yep.
We collected all the jewels and stuff there.
Those are in your pockets. Yeah.
Yeah, we're taking that shit with us.
Our robes are extremely lumpy.
The two of you Misty Step down into the garden. At about the exact same time, you hear the door break against the frame, and massive footfalls coming from the window now above you as the two of you are down into the garden. And you can hear a voice immediately call out, "They untie me! They went into the garden! Stop them! They took the jewels!" And a few seconds later, faces begin peering down from the window, and voices, "I can't make that jump. I can't make that jump." Well, somebody chase them.
I'm assuming at this point Oriana must be right in front of us, right? Because the cat flew out the window, she went and picked it up.
Yeah. She's probably like just on the other side of the iron fence, holding the golden cat.
Cool. Ah, you found it. Keep that. It was his mother's.
Ah, sentimental value.
And
We
then I
have
guess we just
jump
kind
the
of take
fence?
off.
Yeah, do we have
Yeah.
to-
It's waist high. It's ornamental.
Okay, we still should.
Make it athletics or
I
acrobatics.
just like stand there and be like, oh yeah.
Mommy.
But I am gonna roll to see how bad I do. It's a 1. It's a
Oh.
1.
So Aery tries to go over the fence, and immediately his clothes just get caught on the iron spikes, and they rip and tear in a couple of places. And instead of extricating yourself from the iron, you stand in like a really awkward position, like trying to remove your clothing so it doesn't tear anymore in the rain. While there are guards chasing you from inside of the house, until finally the two tieflings help you extricate yourself, and the two of you are now free. The three of you, I suppose, are now free within the city to try and escape. Do you have a hideout that you go to?
Probably.
Yeah.
We'd have got a hotel or something somewhere,
Yeah.
surely.
Yeah. Okay, so the three of you finally make your way back to the hotel. I'll have the three of you roll a d20 just to see whether or not the guards catch up to you.
I imagine we're just like suspiciously power walking away.
I just got a 10. Do I add anything to it?
We'll do what's a roll that we can add to that?
Stealth?
Sure, that sounds good.
Then it's a 10.
Motherfucker.
16.
I have disadvantage on stealth, so thanks for that. I went from an 18 to an 11.
Oh,
Oh,
that's
no.
tragic.
How bad
I'm
is
so
it?
sorry.
With disadvantage, you roll again and you take the
Oh,
lower
right.
one.
Yeah, for some reason, no, and my brain just.
I have a minus
I know,
7.
I was like, she has a -7.
Yeah, I thought as well. I was like, how's that possible?
So Oriana, is there anything that you try to talk about with your sister and Aery during this time, or do you just silently judge them?
No, I'm going to out loud judge them. It's been about a year of them doing this.
Yeah.
Probably about time we have a conversation about this. So I'm gonna, as we're leaving, like wave the cat and be like, "Do you honestly think that I had no idea what you were doing? This is the closest you've been to being caught, as far as I can tell."
And yet, we weren't that close to being caught at all.
Exactly.
Really? It seemed pretty fucking close, guys. Do you have
Yeah,
any idea?
very
Do you have any idea what I've done to keep you being caught in the past? No, you don't, because I cover my tracks.
Well, from what I recall, you've picked up a cat.
Now you're involved.
As the three of you are power walking through an intersection, we'll roll a d6 for this. Eminence, you bump into a large, burly figure, a full-blooded orc in a black suit, panting as he comes from a perpendicular direction, and he bumps into you and, "Oh, sorry, and turns and glances at the three of you and looks away, and then does a double take as he immediately goes into like a defensive stance and, "They're over here!" calls out behind him.
Oh, it's quite all right, sir. Are you okay? I'd like to just pretend I have no idea who this is.
Don't play dumb with me. The three of you, two of you, were just in the manor.
I've been
Just-
with these two all day. They've never been out of my sight. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Just
I don't
come
even know
quietly.
How many of us there were? Are you profiling us? Is this about being a tiefling? Because I frankly had it up to here with being racially profiled in this town. This would never happen in other towns.
He throws up his hands. Lady, I'm an orc. All right? You don't have to talk to me about profiling.
so you understand where the pain is coming from. And look, let's just put. I don't want to start. I don't want to make an issue of this. Let's just put it behind us. We'll go out.
To be completely honest, I do feel like you're at the very least perpetuating the stereotype. I mean, look at you. You're a tiefling, and your pockets are lumpy with someone else's jewels. There's a joke in there that I'm not even going to go close to. But just come quietly, come peacefully. This doesn't have to end any worse for you than it already is going to.
Well, don't appreciate the insult, but I'm just like making desperate eye contact with my sister.
Yeah, the one that doesn't solve any problem.
How about you quietly let us go, and I won't call a bolt of lightning to strike you right on the top of your stupid head? How about that?
As you say that, thunder comes down in the distance.
No, just level my wand at him.
Listen, the rest of the guards are going to be here in just a few minutes, few seconds. I can already hear them running through the side streets to get over towards me.
I suggest you tell them you're mistaken. You don't even have the right amount of suspects here.
And why would I do that?
I'm going to unsheath my mace and just kind of threateningly be like, there are 3 of us, and there are 1 of you. And if you don't think we can remove you from this situation before your friends get here, you are severely mistaken.
He chuckles and says, I like those odds, as he starts to take sort of a battle stance.
I'm gonna call lightning to strike him on the top of his stupid head.
Wait, are you really? Oh, no.
I'm gonna cast lightning bolt at 3rd level.
Oh, Lord. Is that a save?
No. Oh, wait. Dexterity saving throw.
What's your DC?
You just die.
My DC is 15.
15. He got a... Oh, of course. Ay. He keeps rolling, like, right next to MNO plus dexterity. He got a 14! 13 plus 1. How much damage does this lad take?
86. So...
Oh!
That's so rough.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's one more in here. 8. Okay. Okay. 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 5, 6, 6.
Are you adding them together, or are you listing them?
I was just listing them in order, like going up.
2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 6.
2, 3, 5, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 5, 6, 6. So 20, 30,
12.
36?
Yeah, 36. Yep. So he takes 36 damage as a literal lightning bolt just strikes him right on the top of the head. He just immediately goes limp down onto the ground, and as he's laying there, just like twitching a little bit every now and again, he is alive, but he is definitely unconscious.
Let's go.
But that said, the 3 of you do hear footsteps and shouting coming from the same side street that the orc just came from.
Let's go quicker.
Yeah.
Okay. The 3 of you make your way back to your hotel without any difficulty. And as you make your way back into your rooms, waiting on the sitting table are 3 small birds made completely out of paper. And as the 3 of you enter into the room, each one of the birds looks at one of each of you separately, and then suddenly expands out like origami into just a single folded letter that flutters down to the table with your name written on it.
I love that.
Okay, that's cute.
And that is where we will leave the three of you. Can I have the other three go ahead and roll a d20 to see who's up next?
I got a 4.
18.
18-4?
13.
13. Okay, so Bryn, you are up next. So you heard me describe the map a little bit. Is there a specific place that Bryn wanted to go during her year off to do general do-goodery? Like, in my notes, I've got, like, hospitals, orphanages, homeless
like,
shelters.
She would have been doing everything from, like, escort, like, missions, like, taking people between towns, like, general do-goodery. So, yeah, like, any of those places. I don't think she'd specifically be going to necessarily, like, a high populous place.
Okay.
Because, like, it's like a bigger town would have more substantial infrastructure with like guards and stuff like that. So it'd be more like outcropping towns where there might be like problems where they don't have like as much dedicated resources to be able to take care of them themselves.
Sure. So there are a couple of places like that. There's a small village at Farwatch, which is just south of Goldford. It's 2 or 3 days south of Goldford. There's another hodgepodge village called The Pot, which is about a month's worth of travel away from Goldford, but it's like way out in the boonies. They do not have infrastructure to speak of, and the only law is who's got the bigger gun. Fantasy gun.
Bryn doesn't have any guns. I don't know if she'd go out that far from golf because she would have said like she'll check in on the other three like on occasion throughout the like previous 12 months. Like so probably the slightly closer one is the one that she would have.
Yeah, so that town is Farwatch. That is just south of Goldford. So I see we've got a puppy joining us. Goldford is in the center of sort of like a hilly region that runs off of a mountain range far to the east. As that hilly region tapers out, it turns into grasslands. But right at the edge of those hills is an old outpost, a large stone tower on the last hill before the grasslands that has a massive view over the grasslands beyond that can see much, much further than people actually trying to travel through the grasslands on foot. So Farwatch, at the top of the tower, they light a beacon if they spot any trouble out on the plains so that the people on the plains can look back and say, oh, that's a problem. I should probably do something about that. The town itself is small. It is more of a stopping point for most travelers. There's a tavern that exists solely for merchants to allow people to run through. Across from it, there is what you could call a bar, but is more of a dive where usually the merchants and the bodyguards of these, the bodyguards for these merchants would go to. And in this town, they have got very limited infrastructure. Is there something specifically that you're trying to do to help these people? Are you looking to heal sick? Are you looking to...
So she would be like keeping an ear out for like problematic occurrences, as well as like, yeah, if there's whispers of like, I would assume being such like a closely knit, well, not necessarily closely knit, but like a smaller town, word would spread if like any like particular people of note like fell ill or like went missing or things like that.
Yeah, everybody knows each other in this town. By spending just a little bit of time and just asking around, you do hear that one of the local kids has fallen ill. He's showing signs of massive stomach cramping. He's got cold sweats. This sickness has put him in bed, and he has not been able to get out and tend to his cattle out on the plains for the better part of a week or two. And this kid's name is on a different page. This kid's name is Waylon.
She would proceed to the house and speak to whomever is, like, I guess if he's a kid, if he has parents or like other people.
He's a teenager. He does have as you get to the door and sort of knock on it, good old classic redneck, literally blue overalls, corn coming out of the side of his mouth for chewing, opens the door and says, "Yeah, what the hell?"
Oh, sorry to disturb you. My name is Brynjael. I heard whispers that. Did you say this looked like an adult?
Yeah. This is an adult man.
Yeah, that young Master Wayland had fallen ill, and as I'm passing through, thought maybe I could offer some assistance for you.
Yeah, you look. What the hell are you doing in a town like that? You look like one of them hero folk.
No, sadly you'd be mistaken on that part, but I am certainly here, willing to help if I can.
I'm going to chew on my pen. No, I'm not going to do that. It's too big. Well, we'd really appreciate your help in something like this, but I got to say, we don't really have that much to pay you. We were supposed to get in a bit of pay from the last merchant that came through, but he stiffed us something fierce. If you still could help without pay, I mean, that would be very kind.
No payment is necessary. Hopefully, by the sound of it, this isn't going to be something that would be too difficult for me to get under control for you.
That's very nice. Thank you very much. He's just in through here, and you're led in through into the interior of the chamber. The sort of central living area. You can see a wife and two other kids, a boy and a girl, are also in the chamber. They look a little scared seeing you enter into the room, and the wife kind of has the little one behind her leg. But the father sort of takes you into a back room where a separate pallet has been dragged out, and they're laying on the bed, once again, very reminiscent almost to your entrance into Goldford. You can see a small human kid, maybe 13 or 14 years old. He's just starting to grow in his beard, and he's kind of doubled over in pain, clutching his stomach. And the father turns to you and, is there something I can get you? Like, we just boiled water.
No, I don't think for now that will be necessary. Has Wayland traveled recently outside of the town, or has he been staying close by?
Yeah, I mean, he did do a trip up north. He was looking for some rabbits. There's a game trail that goes up through the hills over here. Why do you think? Do you think there's some kind of bug or a curse?
Can she do a medicine check to see if this is like, because you said it's like reminiscent of the symptoms of Squire's vein, but
yeah, totally. Make a medicine check. I'll give you advantage.
Natural 20 plus 6, 26.
Natural 20. This is definitely Squire's vein, 100%. You, of all of the people, you would be able to recognize it.
Is there any lightning-shaped scars anywhere on him?
As you get close to him, you actually do see just the faintest shadow of scarring next to his eyes. And he, as you kind of get close to him, what the fuck? What are you? Who are you? And the father, it's all right. She's here to help. I hope she's here to help. Yeah.
Well, as helpful as I can be. She is going to first lay on hands 5 points to cure any poison that may still be lingering in his system.
Okay.
Doesn't seem to abate it at all.
Let me double check the wording on lay on hands.
I think it's if you... Where are we? You're full of health. or 5 points to either cure a disease or neutralize a poison affecting the creature.
Neutralize poison. Yeah. He's kind of doubled over like, God, she real touchy though. What the? Holy. And he's still kind of like got a little bit of the cold sweats, but you can see immediately he is no longer doubled over in pain. He's breathing more fully. And you can also see like the shadow of the lightning bolts next to his eyes seems to fade and disappear.
I think, young man, have you been traveling near Goldfield at all in your recent escapades on the rabbit trail?
How do you know that? I mean, yeah.
How recently was this?
10 days, I reckon.
And how long is this after the festival?
This is probably pretty close to a year at this point.
It's concerning, but a year ago there was an outbreak of sorts.
Oh, yeah, well, I mean, everybody knows about what happened over there. Wait, do you think I got it? Do you think I got the thing that killed all them people?
The thing is a magical source and a poison, so don't worry, it's not a disease. I don't think it should be coming back anytime soon. However, concerning that we would still be seeing lingering effects, particularly for just going near the town and not spending such an extended period within the town itself.
Well, I wasn't exactly by myself.
How many others were with you?
I was out there with Rock and Tane. We explored a little bit, and it's not great out there. They haven't really cleaned up too much, but we found in one of the houses near the edge of town, we found a box of fireworks, and we were trying to, drink and have fun, and we set them off while we were on our way back home, and that was that. And then a day later, I went down. Rock, I haven't seen what happened to Rock. He hopped on a caravan, so I don't know what happened to him. And Tane he's fine, it seems.
Apparently, the word that the fireworks were the cause of all this has not spread very far, unfortunately. But I would recommend not going back to that town anymore.
I mean, we didn't drink any water. We didn't eat anything. We brought our own food with us. I don't know. It seems like a lot.
And sadly, it wasn't the water source that's the problem or the food. This was an outside source that caused all of this, and, well, like I said, it's very concerning to still hear that there's repercussions happening even this long after it.
So what do I do? Am I fixed?
You're fixed as well as I can probably assist, but know that mainly this was caused by Squire's Bane. I don't know if you're familiar with it. It's a very...
Oh yeah, everybody knows not to eat that. I didn't have any Squire's Bane.
No, but you seem to have inhaled it. It's what was in the fireworks, plus some arcane something or other. Unfortunately, that's not my level of...
Huh.
Can't tell you what.
Well, I'll say that's right fucked. Putting Squire's Bane in the fireworks, that's messed up.
Yes. Interesting what people will do to turn a profit or to further their own ambitions, as it were.
Wait, shit. That's in the firework. Oh man, we gotta. He suddenly looks really nervous and starts to get up out of bed. He's a little unsteady. Oh man, Tane gave our last stick some sparklers. Do you think it's in the sparklers as well?
Probably in anything that was to do with that box of fireworks that you brought. Who did he give it to?
There's the old Bob down the hill.
Well, if you'll excuse me.
Hermit Bob, we call him.
And this Tane, you said that he wasn't displaying any symptoms.
I mean, I ain't left in a week, so I don't know. He looks at his father. Anybody hear from Hermit Bob? And the father looks over and says, fucking of course nobody's heard from Hermit Bob. His name's Hermit Bob.
Bryn would just, if you'll excuse me, I think perhaps I'll go and check on this hermit that's...
Oh, okay, but I tell you, he can get real bitey if you get too close.
A little nip never hurt. Well, that's a story if it can or can't. And Bryn will...
Yeah. they exchange a glance like, what? Okay. Making your way down the hill from Farwatch, it's probably getting a little bit closer towards the afternoon at this point as you make your way down the hill.
She would have Arden her steed as well in terms of speed.
Oh yeah, you've got Arden now.
Fine steed is the thing.
Tell us about Arden. So I imagine this could be a whole scene in and of itself. As you leave the front of this hovel, the father carrying his son like on the shoulder, like, we can't thank you enough. This is incredible. I just wish we had some way to pay you back.
Really not necessary, thank you, but I'm sure it'll be a bit easier having someone assisting you tending to your livestock. And she will swing herself up onto her steed, Arden, who is a big silver stag. Almost like in the light, it seems like he has a soft glow, but it's like one of those things that you kind of blink and it's, oh no, he just has like a very shiny coat.
Yeah. As you say this and swing up onto Arden, I imagine Arden is pretty big, like
he a big
to the
boy.
shoulder at least. Yeah. You swing up onto this massive antlered behemoth. The two of them kind of stop and, holy shit! Are you like one of the? I already asked that. What? As the two of them just stare open mouthed as you mount Arden. Does Arden do anything? Does he like look at them or can Arden talk?
No, he can't talk. But I'm sure he'd probably look. He has like the real nice, almost like Jersey cow, like fluttery lashes, and so he just like slow blinks and kind of huffs at them as we turn and away down to Hermit Bob.
Yes. And down the hill you go. As you go over your footsteps, you hear the son say, "Fuck, I'm gonna find me one of them." As you navigate your way down the hill, go ahead and make... How do you find Hermit Bob? Describe to me how you find a hermit.
Well, the general direction, I think she'd probably be looking for like an area that's secluded enough away from civilization but would have good access to things like a water source and like general kind of tracking through the area.
Okay, so that sounds like either a nature or an investigation or survival.
I'd probably say survival. She'd be trying to do some like general tracking.
Yeah, let's do survival then.
16.
16 is pretty good. You do find a couple of game trails towards the bottom of the hill, but knowing to keep nearby a fresh water source, you're able to follow a little creek that winds its way into a small valley between these two hills. And as Arden kind of pads his way around into a clearing in this small valley, you can see a makeshift teepee out of different plants has been like knitted and woven together. There are the remains of a campfire. You do not see any smoke, but the coals are still warm. And as you approach this plaza, you can this sort of general area, you get the sense that someone is nearby, if not in the immediate vicinity.
Without getting off Arden, is it like the kind of teepee like hovel? Is it like enclosed fully or kind of an open shelter?
It's like 3/4 open. Taking those fronds and kind of looping them around themselves 3/4 of the way, so it provides cover from the rain and most of the wind, that sort of thing.
Alright. She's going to. I'm assuming she can see that there's like no one in there, or is there someone in the teepee?
At a glance, it appears to be empty, and it's not big. Like you could curl up into a little bit more than a ball in that thing.
She will then, I guess, head down to the water source so she can see it from where she is.
Sure, there's a small creek that kind of runs nearby.
And just kind of keep an acute eye/ear out just as she's making her way down there for any movement or any signs or any further signs of like someone living there or where they may have gone.
Go ahead and make a perception check.
Perception. 19.
19. On the opposite side of the creek, maybe 10 foot back, hunched over in the bushes, you can see the vague shape of a human male. Just sort of like his back hunched up. He doesn't appear to have noticed that you've seen him, but he is very clearly watching in your direction.
Does he look like he's in pain, or he's just kind of trying to make himself small?
He appears to be trying to hide.
Okay. She'll try to like innocuously kind of weave down to try and get like as close to him without being suspicious before speaking to him.
Okay. So, how do we handle this? Yeah, I think as you start to approach the creek itself, once you cross over the creek, it's probably no more than 2 feet wide, maybe a couple of inches deep. As Arden passes over the top of it, he stands up and pulls out a bow and says, "You get yourself fucked." He's got like a great big bushy beard that's got like leaves and twigs all wound in it, sort of like knotted gray hair.
You may have the pleasure of speaking with Bob.
You're damn right. Now get the leave.
I'll be more than happy to oblige in just a moment for you. I'm merely doing a wellness check, if you will. I've caught word that you have come into possession of something of quite an unpleasant nature, although it might seem quite harmless.
I don't know what the heck you're talking about. You're get off my land.
You acquired anything that you would have any inclination to set alight recently, Bob?
He kind of narrows his eyes. How do you know about that? Are you some kind of witch? He kind of takes a more defensive stance, pulls the bow back further. You can see that the arrow actually falls off of his thumb, and he kind of fumbles for a moment and re-knocks it and pulls it back.
I can assure you that I'm not a witch, although I know that you've come into possession of this because the person that previously had seen it, I've just treated for poisoning.
I've already forgotten his name. What's his name?
Hermit Bob!
No, Waylon.
Wait, like Waylon.
Oh, the other guy. Yes, Hermit Bob. No one's gonna forget.
He got the sparkler of pain.
Yes. His bow kind of falls a little bit. You talked to Tane?
I've spoken to Waylon, whom informed me that Tane has given you a certain sparkler, one that's origin can be linked to the mass poisoning of many a person, resulting in many deaths. If I can prevent another one, then I will happily do so, even if it'll give you some kind of solace. And she kind of looks at the like tentative hold of the bow.
Yeah.
Some solace in shooting me.
Make a persuasion check, I think.
Hell yeah, that's a good start. 24.
Jesus.
He gets +6 because she's very nice lady.
Lordy. He kind of lowers the bow a little bit, and you said it's bad?
Very bad from what I can tell you. If I'm happy to compensate you if you would like, but if I could take it off your person and check you to see if you are displaying any of the symptoms that poor Waylon has previous.
He cocks his head when you say compensate. How much?
Well, I will happily cure your poisoning if you have been poisoned, but what would be interesting you in compensations? Surely monetary, but is there anything else you would need?
You got any squirrel?
I do not have squirrel. She has rations.
Yep.
So she has like an array of dried meats, I'm guessing, and stuff like travel.
Yeah.
But
as you like pull out your rations and start looking through them, he's like, "Oh, that'll do. That'll last a long time." Yeah.
She will give him 2 days of rations. Because I think.
Okay. And do you approach him, or do you just like leave them on the ground, or what?
She will offer them to him and see his response. If he's unwilling to kind of come into closer proximity, then she'll dismount and place them kind of next.
Yeah, so as you kind of approach a little bit, you can see that he steps back, trying to maintain at least 10 or 15 feet of distance between the two of you. So you set them down? What was that?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So you set them down, and as you back away, he kind of approaches forward until he finally gets to the rations and quickly scoops them up and sticks them in a pocket, and then reaches into his other hand and pulls out the sparkler and tosses it over towards you. And as you get it, you can immediately see that this thing has been chewed on. There are teeth marks all across it. It's like kind of wet on one end, like he was trying to use it as a cigar. But
Bob, are you feeling
you have the sparkler?
okay?
I feel fat. I'm good.
And is he being honest, or does he just want her to leave?
Make an insight check.
16.
16? He appears to be fine. I mean, as fine as Hermit Bob can be.
Yeah. How long ago? Well, does it look like it's recent chew marks, or does this?
I mean, it's still wet on one end. Like, he was probably suckling on it before you got to the camp.
Bob, may I shake your hand before I go? Common courtesy after a trade that, in good faith, you seal the deal with a handshake.
Make a deception check.
I mean, technically, it's truthful.
Yeah, but like obviously why I'm doing it is not.
Yeah, your intentions are
17.
17. Ooh. Bob got a 16.
Oof.
Very friendly lady.
He looks very uncomfortable as you slowly approach, and there are a couple of instances where you take steps. And you can see like his back leg shake, like he wants to like backpedal away until finally you get close enough to reach out with your hand towards him, and slowly he offers his own hand until your hands clasp.
You will gently have her other hand on top and kind of just one little curt shake of the hand, and with her other hand she's going to use lay on hands 5 points, just in case.
Sure. You do that. You can see that there's like a cut on his cheek that closes up, and he immediately recoils back. Oh, what the hell did you do? This is... you are kind of...
No, that's...
Get out of here!
Very good omen for a trade well done, my friend. And she will remount Arden and head off.
Yeah. as you like leave.
She'll just like wave, like behind, like without looking back as she leaves.
And as you are riding Arden back towards Farwatch, you could see a gray bird is sort of slowly circling down until it gets really close, 20 feet, 15 feet, 10 feet, and then suddenly swoops in front of your face, wings beating, and folds out into a letter that slowly drifts down into your lap.
We'll kind of try and catch it before it falls potentially past.
Yeah. You're able to grab the letter, no problem. And that is where we will leave Bryn. Natalie and Eredan, let's get
Roll
some
off.
D20. Are you stroking your non-existent beard?
Yes,
There?
that's what this is.
Yes. Meanwhile,
Hell.
Eredan.
It does make sense. We did say that Natalie was kind of like the centerpin, like meeting point, so like it makes sense for me to go last.
Sure, what'd you get?
Natural 1.
5 and a natural 1. Eredan.
Wow, I won with a 5. That's depressing.
Eredan, you have spent the last year running and looking and looking and running and running and looking and looking and running, and you have nearly reached your breaking point. You finally found some information about the individual that you are looking for. Oh my goodness, why did I close that tab? Yes, I believe this is it. So you specifically were looking for information about the... Which one? The Winter Court?
Yeah, the person who's hunting me.
Yes. Going to different libraries and asking different people, asking different bards for their own stories, asking different wizards for knowledge about their magic. Some of them seem skeptical. Some of them seem to claim to have information that is outright false. Some of them claim to have information that is half true. But over the course of the year, you hear about a woman named Daisy. And this woman, Daisy, lived up in the mountains past Frovale. And Daisy, as the stories go, lived with the Lord of Winter for a full year and was not killed. Somehow, she spent a lot of time with him and is back in the mortal plane, just chilling up in the mountains. Do you try to head towards Daisy?
Of course. All right. So I guess shortly after splitting off from the rest of the group and talking to this person, I pack up my gear and head out to the mountains as fast as I can.
Yeah. The journey is not easy for you. It takes the better part of a few months to find your way up into the mountains, and then from there it takes even more time to find where Daisy is staying. But the hardest part of the journey is when winter falls in the mountains, when it actually starts snowing and icing and sleeting. And your visions become worse and worse and worse. You lose more and more sleep as time goes on. And one late evening, as you are coming around a bend to rise, following this small footpath that you hope will lead to the correct cottage, to the correct valley where Daisy lives, you turn over the crest of this hill and see before you a single room cottage, orange glowing windows, demonstrating firelight inside. You can see firewood is stacked up against the side, and the door is currently closed.
Okay, so all right, I trudge through the snow towards the house. As I'm
Yep.
doing so, I pull a torch out of my bag, light it up just so that I can see where I'm going properly and maybe a bit of warmth to stave off the winter. And I knock on the door. We go, hello, is anyone there?
You hear a voice from within. Oh, and some footsteps. A few moments later, the door opens a bit, and inside you can see a human woman who is approximately 400 years old. She is skin and bones. Her skin is just totally sallow and hanging off of her bones. She's got bone white hair that's very thin, pulled back into a very tight ponytail, and her eyes are a brilliant gold. As you look at her, as she looks at you, and visitor, do come in. And she slowly shuffles to the side. You can see she has a cane, and her back is hunched over as she opens the door and offers the way into the cabin. And as you get in, closes the door. You can feel the warmth of a roaring fire in this one single room cabin. There's a table for preparing food. There's a cot on the other side. You can see some knitting supplies. Just a kind, genteel woman's cabin.
No, not now, cat. Sorry.
Sorry.
She has a cat. That is no canon.
Yep, that's fair. All right. And I say, good evening, milady. I'm sorry to interrupt your solitude. First of all, it's a harsh life out here. Is there anything I can do to make you feel a little more comfortable? I come seeking information, and this may be a long discussion if you'll bear my presence.
Oh, well, I wouldn't have you going back outside tonight. It looks like the snows are going to fall quite heavy tonight. Here, I'll make us some tea. Do you drink jasmine?
Yes, that sounds lovely. Thank you.
Yes. She puts a pot on top of the fire, and starts to prepare 2 cups. And you seek something of me?
Yes. I've heard rumors that you know something of someone that is hunting me. And that you've somehow escaped him relatively unscathed, or the Lord of Winter.
At this, you can see she's sprinkling tea leaves in the cup. She kind of stops for a moment and looks up at you, and narrows her eyes and leans in and gets uncomfortably close as she looks at you and looks at your eyes and your face. Ah, there is something Fey about you. He's hunting you, you said. She puts more of the tea leaves in and settles down. I know him. And yes, I spent a year with him. What would you like to know?
How did you survive? How did he not kill you? Why are you not a teacup or a footstool or being forced to play an instrument until your fingers drop off? How are you here?
I think you misunderstand. I was never his. It's a bit of a story. My father owned a vineyard, and when I was very young, we would get unseasonal blizzards. Storms would rage across and ruin the entire year's worth of effort. But immediately afterwards, our growing season in the spring would see grapes the likes of which we'd never predicted. I later found out that the Lord of Spring had a particular flavor for my father's wine. And the Lord of Winter wasn't a fan. To try and help us, the Lord of Spring, he asked me to visit him, to offer assistance. So I went, and that was a great time. I think I ended up staying for longer than I intended, because eventually he agreed to marry me. Well, one of many wives, at least. However, the Lord of Winter wasn't happy about this. On the day that we were to be wed, the Lord of Winter sent an envoy, agreeing to leave the vineyard and honor the marriage if I stayed with the Lord of Winter for 1 year before the wedding were to take place. So the Lord of Spring agreed, and I went. You think you know cold, but you don't. His castle was pure crystal and ice. He met me outside with eyes from the heart of a glacier. The jawline cut from ridges of pure ice. He was beautiful, but I was not for him. I was a token. He took me in, and he never touched me for more than a few seconds, because with every touch he very well could have killed me. He was very... I stayed with him for 1 year in his castle.
So
He
you
had
a
food.
deal.
Well, I had a deal with the Lord of Spring, and the Lord of Spring had a deal with the Lord of Winter. He had food brought in so that I could eat, because he doesn't need to. And once a day, we would sit and talk. And that was it. But as time went on, I began to notice the cold less and less. And by the end of the year, I couldn't even feel it anymore. The Lord of Winter, she gets up and walks over and gets like a small wooden box and plops it onto her lap. And sits back down. The Lord of Winter, she kind of touches her cheek. Let me go. I got back into a carriage and rode back to the Lord of Spring. And the next day, I stood there in my wedding gown across from the Lord, and I wasn't the same. At this point, she unfolds the box and pulls out like a small piece of cloth. And inside, you can see roughly a fist-sized block of solid ice, pure and crystal clear, and in the center of which is a single daisy.
Oh.
The Lord of Winter... The Lord of Winter gave this to me, but he froze the Lord of Spring's gift. He froze me. I was unable to marry the Lord of Spring because I was no longer the same. I had changed. And
What
I haven't changed since.
What do you mean froze? I mean, how can I
I understand your question. The wine we drank no longer had flavor. The music we listened to no longer had life. The warmth of the bonfires we were to dance about no longer brought warmth. Would you marry someone who was frozen? I tell you this story to tell you of the Lord of Winter. He is not evil. He is a force of nature. He is pure and powerful, but he is not evil.
So
go ahead.
You managed to survive because he exacted his toll in some other fashion, and the Lord of Spring protected you. But
No. I was never something to be punished or hurt by him. I was a tool for him.
I'm not so lucky. In your time living with him, did you notice anything that he avoided at all costs, that he wouldn't touch, that he wouldn't go near, that might ward him off, or
she puts the daisy in ice, folds it back up in cloth, and puts it back into the small chest and closes it. I'm afraid I won't help you hurt him. You must understand, it's not you. I do want to help, though. You cannot get him to break his word. It is impossible. But you can get him to change it. Perhaps you can give him something more valuable, something more important to him.
And what would that be? I mean, if he values artifacts or treasure or gold or magic, I can find all of those things, but what on earth? Failing that, a spring kept you safe to a degree, perhaps.
No, the spring didn't keep me safe. He did. And it's at about this point you realize that her chair has been up against the door of the cabin, and the door is open directly behind her. So as you're sitting next to the fire, you're next to the warmth, you realize this entire time she has been sitting in the cold air that has been blowing in and circulating out through the windows.
Oh, God.
It's not that It's not that I don't feel the cold, it's that I feel its absence. Perhaps you can find something that can encourage him to change his mind.
Any clues, any ideas where I might start to do such a thing?
I've been looking myself for the past few decades. I'm sorry. And she stands up and hobbles over next to you and offers out the small wooden box to you. This is a reminder of something that I had, a reminder of something frozen in time that helped me. Perhaps it can help you.
If you're sure.
She chuckles and kind of sits back down. Oh, I don't have many winters left.
Thank you.
At this point, the tea kettle begins to hiss and slowly whine into the room. And of course. and she pours you tea. You're welcome to stay here for the evening. I'll keep the fire warm for you.
Thank you. I don't do so well with the cold these days.
I understand the feeling. And at this point, do you actually ask that? Yeah. At this point, a bird flies in through the window and starts to circle around the ceiling before landing on your lap. And she, oh, this is nice. And the bird turns into a letter.
Cool. Alright, so hold the letter.
You now have an item that I will tell you about during the break.
Yep.
That can do things for you.
Cool.
Awesome.
Quick.
Natalie.
Lucky last.
Lucky last. So we talked... Yeah, exactly. Roll a d20 for right now. We talked a little bit about how Natalie would spend her time after Goldford. Natalie seemed to take it pretty hard.
Yeah. I'm not correcting because it's true.
Sure. So how did Natalie get away from that? Did she confront it? Did she embrace it? Did she turn to something else?
I get the feeling that she would have found a way to help. Obviously, she couldn't help the people that she left behind, so she found a way to help people forward. So at some point, she would have broken off from the party, and I would hope that she would have established herself. I'm imagining in kind of like a farmhouse or something. Maybe she helped them, fight off
just a farm laborer
things or whatever, just to so that she's able to get lodgings. And she just has a little spot.
You are absolutely easily able to find a farm that needs someone who can help fight off wolves, fight off bandits, help till the ground and hoe the crops and all of that farming terminology. It is not hard. The family that you find is an old half-elf man and a human woman. They are a little bit up in years. They're having a bit more trouble. Their son died in Goldford.
Yeah, they love it.
And this is something that they're generally a quiet family. They'll talk about the day and the weather with you, but they won't really. They know not to push. And the one time that they did bring up their son, they saw your reaction, and they never really brought it up again. So you've been with this family for probably a handful of months at this point, helping them sort of rebuild fences, working out in the pasture to help make sure that the cows are well maintained, helping with the horses, that sort of thing. And one day you come across the old man standing in the field. He has a name, which is in my other notebook on the other side of the room that I don't want to get. So he is about to get a new name.
I would like to point out too that I would imagine maybe once every couple of months she does kind of like a vigil, I guess you would call it. It was actually something that people used to do in the past to practice discipline as soldiers. They would stand in one place for a day, and she would find a spot there that would be looking out to the mountains to remind her of where she came from, and is standing there unmoving with a weapon drawn, and is practicing that discipline in order to center and ground herself. Maybe once every few months.
Absolutely. And as you do this, the family, the very first time you do this, they don't even bother you. They don't talk to you. You can hear them approach behind you and kind of talk amongst each other. Should we give her food? I don't know what to do. Until they, get a little bit more comfortable. The second time you do it, the wife comes out and she leaves a dinner roll and some apples at your feet. Not really sure what else to do, and goes back inside. I think during one of these vigils, the older man comes out. Gallon is his name. Mm-hmm. And he stands next to you. And the two of you stand there, not saying anything. Every once in a while, he kind of shifts because he's older. He's not exactly super fit. Until finally he turns towards you after shifting once again. And how do you keep so damn still?
It's training. Many years trained to do this.
For this specifically?
No, it's... And as she's saying this as well, she's not being expressive. Like, she's very very still.
Yeah.
And just sometimes you need to be in a still place, either to protect, or when you're heading out to, say, fight something, and you just need to stay still. It's a discipline thing, I believe.
What do you need the discipline for?
I have an issue with my emotions. At a drop of a hat, I'm thrown into this unbridled rage, and I need to manage that, to channel it into something useful, something that can help, something that can protect.
I think that's very admirable.
If only.
You're too young to be half as skeptical as you are, you know.
Too young to have seen the things that I've seen.
Aren't we all? I want to give you something. And he reaches into one of his side pouches and pulls out what looks to be a small wooden horse, a carving of a horse. And he offers it out to you.
All right.
This belonged to my son.
And you'll just instantly see her, like, stiffen up, like, absolute back straight, like...
Yeah.
Even
Your
more so
posture
than
was
before.
good, but now it's just like...
Yep.
yeah. He notices and... Yeah. He didn't have any discipline. He always went on and on about the better life we could be having. Gold and less taxes and more cows, that sort of thing.
Cows are good company.
Only if you don't have a nose.
True.
He left when he was 17, just over a year ago. He wanted to become a warrior of legend. He said he was going to get us out of... And he turns back towards the farm. Get us out of here. I never understood. Here is fine. It's out there where things go wrong.
Natalie's just dead silent.
I'm sorry. I know that talking about this makes you uncomfortable.
No reply.
I'd love to say I've got some ancient wisdom for you, but I don't. My son died, and I'm still here, farming, growing crops. Maybe that's it. Life goes on. I think this discipline thing is a good idea, though.
And she looks like she's about to say something and she stops herself.
He notices, kind of smiles. I'm too old for this. Good luck. And he turns and starts walking off.
And she just looks kind of like antsy. Like, she's still very still, but there's like kind of a turn in her shoulder and it's almost like it's like kind of slowly following him. But she doesn't move.
Sure. He heads back inside.
As soon as the door closes, she pulls out one of the hand axes at one of her sides and she just screams. Like, she gives a huge yell and she launches that hand axe directly into the ground and just falls to her knees.
Yeah.
And just holds her head in her hands.
There's a moment where even the crickets of the night go silent, and slowly sound begins to fill the space around you once again. You do hear whispering from inside of the farm. What the hell was that? But no one comes out. They respect your space.
Yeah, she just takes a few more moments to just have a look around. And I'd like to think that it's like kind of like a semi-vantage point that like she can maybe see a couple of things.
Yeah. Their house is probably up like on a little bit of a hill, so they can see the land around them.
Like kind of, you know, she would have found a spot that's like easy to see where things come in and stuff. And she just kind of has a bit of a look around and just tries to recenter herself for a moment before she stands up again, pulls the hand axe from the ground and wipes it off and attaches it back to her belt and stands back in her vigil.
You probably stand for 4 or 5 minutes before this time the wife comes out, and you can see that she has like a hot bowl of soup and with a little loaf of bread on the side and a spoon. She comes up next to you and, I don't know if you're allowed. I mean, you ate the apples last time. Do I need to hold this if you eat it, or can I just? I'll put it here. And she kind of sets it at the ground next to your feet, and looks up at you and. We'll see you inside.
And as she gets like a little bit closer to, maybe like halfway back, she'll just kind of whisper a little thank you. Not necessarily whether or not she'll hear it.
Sure. And the woman goes back inside. And the rest of your vigil is completed in solitude. Dawn comes the very next day, and you can finally sheath your weapon back. Still tired as heck, hungry. Your legs are like that jelly wobbly feeling from standing for too long. Your feet are totally sore as you walk back inside. You can see that the old couple is just getting breakfast ready. And watch was good.
Uneventful.
Good. Will you be having breakfast with us, or is it straight to sleep?
I would like to have breakfast with you.
Oh, okay. And the wife kind of smiles happily and cracks a few more eggs, puts some ham out that starts to fill the air. As once again, it's straight back to normal, talking about the weather, talking about the fence that needs to be fixed, talking about the cow that's got a lame leg. And as you are sitting there talking, having this conversation, is there anything specifically that you would like to talk about with them?
I think predominantly it would be like the minute, like she's kind of quiet when they're talking about like the weather and like all that.
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
But as soon as they mention like there's a fence down or something, she's like, okay, do you have this? Do you need this? What can I help you with here? Can I do this? Like, do you need me to go with you? Like, is it gonna impact the farm or whatever if we don't do this today? Like, kind of plan of actioning it. But anytime it's like small talk, it's just like a lot of like nodding.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, the husband is totally down for that. He is, we've got this hammer, we've got spare nails, we can absolutely make a splint for the cow's leg so that it grows back straight, just a whole bunch of things like that. And as you are sitting there having this conversation, there is one of those lulls where, as things go quiet, you hear something is like fluttering against the door, just constantly like... And it gets really quiet as the husband looks at the wife and then back at you in confusion.
Natalie will instantly be up with like her hand axe, which I imagine like she would have put the axe, like the great axe away. But the hand axe would be like at her side, and she would just grab it instantly, just kind of like put her hand on like her lips and like move towards the door in like a protective stance. Ready? I'm guessing it's like the front door, right?
Yeah, it is the front door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, she just kind of stands there and like just waits a moment, waiting for them to like move back.
Yeah.
Be away.
They press back to the wall. The husband pulls up a frying pan and some eggs slip off. The wife's like, "Oh, you could have." You get to the door. The flittering is still pressing against the door. It's kind of like wobbling a little bit in the frame.
She just holds it for a moment before like pulling it back fully and then kind of like going to walk out.
Yeah, as you pull the door open, immediately flying around the room is a small gray bird that does wide circles. The wife kind of cringes away as the husband starts trying to smack at it with the pan. And after it does 2 or 3 full circles around the room, it stops directly in front of you and opens up into a letter that drifts down in front of you with your name on it.
She looks at the letter. She looks back at the people and says, I can't read.
And that's where we're going to go ahead and take our break. Awesome. So it is the 37 here. Are we live still, or let's declare a break timer? What do we say?
Hang on.
Minutes?
Yeah.
Oh, you closed it?
No, I haven't done it yet. I haven't moved it.
So whatever the time is where you're at, I'm at 12:07 for my time. If you're watching from an 07 or a 37, add 23 minutes to that.
Yeah.
Yes, because time zones.
Yep. All right, we'll see you soon. Bye.
Awesome. See ya.
See ya.
Well,
what does that mean? We're on?
That was the sign for
okay,
yes,
that's
we're here.
the sign.
I really should get like a sign, but it's fine.
Okay, welcome back, everybody. This is Wisdom Saves. We're all back from our break. The 6 of you have all received letters with your name on it from an individual called Eladir. And of course, in my eternal brilliance, while preparing for this session, I prepared a whole bunch of things, but never actually wrote the letters. So I will paraphrase them for you because they are all the same. The letter essentially inquires as to whether or not you were one of the individuals involved with the Goldford incident. The writer identifies themselves as a third-party organization interested in investigating what exactly occurred at Goldford so that they can go out of their way to prevent it in the future. They request that you meet up at an encampment outside of Goldford a certain number of days away from now, so that they can investigate what happened more closely, and if things turn out well, compensate you for your time and efforts. And it is signed at the bottom, Elidir of the Wend.
I don't know that
suspicious.
name.
No.
Yes. Well, this is the plot hook, so you guys are being super suspicious. This is the one. Do the characters just stay split up? Or are we gonna split the campaign now?
No, but I meant
Yeah,
like.
no, let's just nod out to this one.
Actually, I have something on that day. Shit.
Yeah, no, we sent ours to junk mail.
Yeah.
To spam.
Something good for someone.
I think Bryn had said that she would re-meet up with Aery, Oriana. So that's probably where she would have headed after Firewatch, depending on how long it would take to get to the town they're in from where she is versus the date that is on, to then back travel. Because if it's going to be too short of a round trip, she'd go straight to the camp. If not, she would have gone back to meet up.
Sure. So you would be passing by Goldford. I have a loose map that I have drawn in my notebook because, of course, I have. Where are we? So Goldford is here in the center. The super tiny Firewatch is this little stop right here. Whereas, what did I call it? Andapolis is all the way up in the north. So you would literally be passing by to get there.
Yeah, she'd still probably skirt around and follow the main path if she has time to do that. So if anything, she'd probably pass them on the way and then backtrack. She's happy doing that.
So do the other three of you head back towards Goldford?
Well, yeah.
May as well.
Yeah.
I'd imagine that Natalie would have after having this probably read to her.
Yeah.
She would kind of make a mention that it's something that she needs to do and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It's important.
As you depart, the farmer offers you a small bag containing 4 gold and 3 silver to compensate you for your efforts.
Okay. She will hand it back.
You don't take it?
Nah.
Okay. He cheery, tearful goodbyes. Goodbye.
She'll give a wave. like a happy wave.
I don't give a shit about these people.
Yeet. Okay, and everybody else starts heading their way towards the camp as well. Does anybody else have anything they want to do specifically? Okay.
I imagine
No,
there
we
might be
read
a bit
that,
of
yeah.
an argument between the three of us as to whether we go or not, but I guess the combination of curiosity and the possibility of maybe compensation sort of swayed us.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bryn would have, throughout the last year as well, probably, but have kept a keener eye out, hearing about people still being affected by poison from Goldfield. Been keeping an eye out for null root because she would know what it looks like and kind of its natural growing patterns and stuff like that. So any areas she would have traveled through that null root would naturally grow in, she would have been keeping an eye out for that too.
Yeah, sure. You've probably become a little bit of an expert on Goldford on the Null Root and Squire's Bane at this point, looking for its effects in different populations and different populaces. You just as flavor information, you still get the sense that how Squire's Bane naturally affects people when straight ingested is still very different from the effects that you saw when it was in the fireworks. Either way, it's probably about midday, almost a full year to the day since the event of the Springcrest Festival, when the 6 of you finally arrive in a clearing outside of a small camp. You can see temporary tents have been put up outside of the edges of the town walls. People are coming and going with different equipment and tools. You can see vials being carried in different locations. There are chests full of supplies. There's sort of like a large command tent, which is where you were told to meet outside of in the letter. But just beyond this camp that's sort of abutting the edge of Goldford, the six of you finally are now back face to face for some of you the first time in nearly a full year.
Well, it's good to be happy with circumstance, but it's good to see everyone again.
Yes. Actually, Eminence would probably go around and give everyone the very fake airy fairy, like, double cheek kiss. Darling, it's so good to see you again. You look splendid.
Aery would probably hug everyone. Yeah.
Bryn will give Aery a really big hug in return, because they were traveling for a while together, like on and off.
Yep.
Natalie just kind of looks
Cool.
uncomfortable. So, like, with the like, because, you know, he hasn't seen them in a while, and...
Oriana is also looking kind of uncomfortable, probably from, like, the other side of the circle. They're just looking at each other like...
Yeah.
we don't need to do this touchy thing, do we? Let's just...
Natalie will give a nod in Oriana's direction, as opposed to, like, actually going up to her.
Yep.
As you are all making your introductions and speaking once again, stepping out from the command tent, you can see an elf. Male, sort of like cropped, dirty blonde hair, walk forward towards the six of you. He looks like one of the Hemsworths, but I'll let you decide. Just personal mental image. And he approaches the six of you and... Ah, yes. All six of you have arrived. Excellent. If you will please come with me inside, we can sit and have a chat. Thank you so much for responding to the letter. You have no idea how difficult it is to wrangle people together. Please come with me. And he turns back towards the command tent and sort of holds aside a flap.
Bryn will step through into the tent. She'll go first.
Natalie will be the last
Awesome.
to go in.
I'll
Let her
follow.
go.
Yeah. I would just like to point out that Aery is very suspicious.
Okay.
Natalie is also
It's
suspicious.
Suspicion of authority. Love it. Inside of this command tent, you can see multiple different tables have been set up. There are humans, elves, gnomes, half-elves, a couple of dwarves, all working very, very diligently, going over a bunch of different papers, talking about different things. You can see layouts of the city. You can see sort of like fallout zones almost of how things have happened towards the city, of how the event of the festival, Spring Crisp Festival, ended up playing out over the course of the day. There are a few stools sort of gathered around a large central circular table, and he motions to them to take a seat. He motions to each of you to take a seat before continuing. As I said, my name is Alishiera, and I work for the Wend. My job, I guess one of my jobs, is to investigate the fallout of rogue magics. The Wend, primarily as an organization, is interested in allowing magic to grow and flourish, but keeping rogue and errant magic in check. Here, obviously, things were not very good. Quiet, dog. A wild dog runs by the tent. The reason that I have summoned the six of you is because, as I understand it, the six of you were able to discover the plot within Goldford and tried to take some steps to remedy the situation. I would just like to hear your side of the story as to what happened so that we can get to the bottom of it.
May I first inquire as to how you learned our names, whom you spoke of that enlightens you to any of us being involved in the first place?
Yes, well, that's the hard part. Think of us as sort of we're magical CSI. We came in after the fact, after the damage had been done, and tried to trace the effects of that day and rock them backwards. In addition, from scattered remnants of the few survivors that are left, I believe the finished fatality rate was somewhere around 93 to 94% of the population. We were able to work together to piece some version of the story of what happened that day, but we would like to hear it from the six of you, just to try and find out.
Well, it's good that you're asking questions instead of arresting us to start with.
Oh, arrest you? Why would I arrest you? As far as we can tell, you did everything to prevent that from happening.
But did you hear that they tried to arrest us when we brought it to their attention?
That's where things get a little bit fuzzy. Our team was able to track the six of you to the mayor's manor, and then you left. I don't know. I'm, again, very sorry, but there were no survivors of the party to which you attended, so it was very difficult to trace back what exactly happened at that
Can I roll an
location.
insight check on that? Oh,
Absolutely.
No,
That's the thing we can
Not
do.
even Nikolai survived?
But we loved him. We loved Nicola.
Oh, okay,
He offered refreshments to us.
That's a
Well,
15.
potentially
Why
poison.
we cared about him.
We've got a 15. What else?
Oh, are we all doing it?
If we're all allowed to, I will roll.
I mean, if you want
Yeah,
to.
I will roll
Yeah.
as well, yeah. Now that
Yeah,
you mentioned
yeah.
that thing.
To me, it just seems like a bit of an incredulous story, so I'm like,
What was it?
Insight.
Insight. 25.
Holy
Good
shit.
lord.
8?
Yeah, I rolled a 19. Got +6.
Okay. Well, I will say this. Bryn, you detect just the barest hints of an ulterior motive. However, you cannot determine whether or not it is malicious intent or benevolent. For the rest of you, he appears to be telling the truth. And he kind of continues on. I would be remiss to say there were some degrees of magic involved in trying to replicate not the literal effects, but the fallout of what happened. Think of it as drawing around a crime scene to trace footsteps backwards, just with magic to draw the footsteps. I see that look. Natalie, I presume, yes?
yes.
We ourselves have not done any testing with the Squire's Bane with the intent of replicating the effects of the fireworks. I say magic is used to replicate the effect of what happened that day on the city, to trace who went where and how they got to different locations at different times, to examine the fallout.
I understand that, but I'm a little bit curious. You said that your job is to investigate magical elements, magical events. Who do you
Yes.
work for?
The Wend.
The Wend?
The Wend, yes. Sorry, the Weft. Fuck, why did I write Wend?
The Weft?
The Weft.
Sorry. Wigs immediately jumped into my brain. You must understand I'm not around here. What does that mean?
Are there any magic users in your group?
Oh yes, I love to use magic.
Literally
Yes,
everyone
so-
but me.
You are familiar with the weave, correct?
Am I?
Probably yes.
Okay.
For you, Natalie, the weave is, it's almost like this force that permeates and exists on top of our own layer of existence, and in fact all layers of existence. It is the force that powers magic. Think of it as different threads of arcane energy weaving all across, some absolutely enormous and magnificent in size, and some no bigger than a single hair. And with magic, we don't so much create magic as twist the weave into a shape to generate effect. For example, and he does a small arcane symbol with his hand, and a single, like a candle flame, appears in between his fingers. This is pulling on one of the threads of the weave that is connected to the plane of fire. It is very small, and I have wound it in such a way to create fire. And if I release it, the weave returns back to the way it was, and as a result, the magic dissipates.
Right.
The
so
left...
Oh, sorry. You're going to continue. I was going to ask that
No,
question.
no. Please, go ahead.
I was
The
going to...
left keeps the weave straight.
So, do I get the impression, this is out of character, do I get the impression that it is a, like, kind of like there are, like, is this a state-governed thing? Like, is it something that, like, is it science, or is it, like, a cult?
It's always tough. You never can tell.
As in, do
I'll tell you
people,
what,
would
why don't you
they
make an
have,
insight
like,
check for me?
Okay.
Because that's a good question.
Oh, that's cult. Why does this do this to me?
Would-
Ooh, that's a 19.
19's very good. It does not appear to be government funded. It is very well funded. Like, you can see high quality supplies, and in addition, just the sheer volume of people working at the site like this a year after it has happened speaks to the amount of effort to, if he is to be believed, fully understand the situation. Speaks a little bit to the power of this organization.
Mhm.
You don't see any like state or government flags or anything like that, and you don't see anything that specifically refers to one specific god, as much as you see, here's a token of Bahamut if we need to use it to investigate something related to justice. Here's a token of Muradin if we need to investigate something of dwarven forging.
So even though they're working on behalf of like the weave, there's nothing specifically indicative of Mistra. Like, so there's lots of religious symbology. There's not just like an overbearing one more commonly appearing symbol than another.
So I would say that I know I'm using this word incorrectly, but like recreationally, on all of the people who are working there, they have different tokens, but you get the sense that that's a personal belief for people part of the organization, not specifically an aspect of the organization itself.
I guess also, like, most specifically, I'm trying to work out their intention with the information. Like, if they are like something that, like, they believe in the weave, right? And they
Sure.
that's how they rationalize everything. I want to know what they would do with the information from that. Like, if they were, for instance, like, they're a valued source of knowledge on magic, so they're finding this out as like a historical, like, accuracy perspective, or are they finding it out because they want to know what happened in order to do something else with it that is out of that realm? Does that make sense?
Do you want to ask Alishiera?
I guess if I can't work that out intuitively, I would be asking exactly what he wants to do with this information.
Absolutely. We hope to prevent incidents like this from happening ever again. The Weft was created with the fall of the Netheril, when the weave was first torn asunder and the first Mistra died. We hope to prevent anything like that from ever happening again, and as a result, our efforts have reached further forward into the modern era. If not the fall of an entire civilization, why not the fall of a single kingdom? If not the fall of a single kingdom, why not prevent the fall of a single town? We hope to make magic what it should be, simply a force, pure and natural to be utilized for the good of the people utilizing it, not for the personal benefit of those who wish to use it against others.
Noble
So,
intentions indeed, but I feel like I should pass it over to my friends, and I'll motion to Aery, who looks like they're ready to say something.
Yeah.
Well, I was just wondering what the purpose, not what the purpose of your investigation is, but like, are you trying to find out who did this or just how they did it?
Oh, we were already able to track it down to Cordes Chin, was it?
Oh yes, that horrible wizard man in the tower. Yeah, I remember.
Yes. Yes, it turns out he dosed himself successfully with Null Root before the fireworks went off so that he was immune, but the remaining villagers mobbed him the next day.
Oh, I'd love to hear it. But
Oh.
I am curious that all of the nobility were also killed. What was his purpose? Did anyone find out what he hoped to achieve? If it was to sell a cure, it killed so quickly, and he killed everyone with power in the city as well.
Oh, you don't
Unusual.
know. Okay, you sure. He kind of walks over and pulls out like a small chest and very carefully opens the top, and inside you can see a bundle of fireworks. And very delicately, he lifts out a single tube. What we've been able to discover from the remaining fireworks that we've collected around the city is that inside each of these fireworks was a small grinding of Squire's Bane. However, Squire's Bane is not organic in origin. It is called Astera Nethera in true name. It is something that was created by the fall of the Netheril cities thousands of years ago. It is magical in origin. As far as we can tell, when consumed by a human, the latent magic within the Squire's Bane berries by any biological being, catalyzes itself off of the general life force that the human humanoid, passively generates to create a negative reaction, which in turn manifests itself as symptoms around the general area of the berry, aka the stomach. However, when catalyzed with magic, and he rotates it over and shows the rune on the side, it amplifies the effect of the berry, turning it into magical nitrous. When inhaled, that arcane energy just tears through the body from what we've been able to tell. And I'm afraid Cordes Chin didn't know that. He assumed that the berry inhaled would have the same effect as the berry ingested, and was completely unaware of the arcane interaction involved with the Nethera berry.
I see. So he accidentally killed a whole city of people.
Worse things have happened.
I don't know, it seems pretty bad.
Yes, it is, and I don't mean to understate the situation at all, but from what we can tell, at least judging by the stores of Nullroot that we found in his tower, what was left of the stores after they were taken by the remaining survivors, was that he had hoped to distribute it among the city, but we couldn't figure out why he didn't do it beforehand, if not during the case of the actual festival. And that's why we wanted to bring you in, so that we could understand what happened. The six of you were there. You saw it happen. Maybe you can help us fill in some of the blanks.
Sure. What do you want to know?
If you could explain what happened that day from the top, it would help us greatly. We know Cordes Chin was involved in the process, but we we don't know what he hoped to achieve. Why did he do it? Were you able to find any motive?
It was
Well-
a money-making scheme.
Yes, it was just a whole little scheme he put together so that he could poison the people of the town, have a store of all of the cure for it, and then sell it back to them at ridiculous prices. If, as you say, he didn't mean for it to be as aggressive, then I assume that he wasn't trying to kill them. He just wanted to make everyone very sick so that he could profit from it.
We found some notes in his tower that spoke to the process of preparing the berry to be distributed in the fireworks, but we could find nothing to corroborate that he knew it would be lethal. It's no excuse, and, well, he's still dead, so I guess ashes to ashes.
Everything that we discovered about it before, obviously we saw the effects of it ourselves, was also that it was not supposed to kill them. I mean, obviously some probably would have died, but I don't think it was supposed to kill so effectively.
No,
There
he
was-
also intended to frame us, which would lead one to assume he thought people would live to want to punish the perpetrator.
There was also troubling notion that someone was colluding with him. When we went and spoke with the mayor, it was either the guards or the mayor themselves that
He
sort of fit
pulls
to
back a
arrest
notebook.
us.
Yes, I did. We were able to find something with. What was his name? Redrook? Rilio Redrook was
Yes.
involved?
Rilio was one of the conspirators with it, I believe. May not have been as savvy in the plans, but definitely had an involvement.
He kind of motions over to one of the other individuals, and they confer quietly for a few moments, and he pats them on the shoulder, and the person walks out. I'm having her investigate this relationship between Quadrim and Cordast. I think this is already proving to be very helpful.
Well, I'm not able to speak for everyone, but I'm more than happy to give my assistance in whatever questioning you have. The one thing that I will ask is that you can give some kind of guarantee to my companions that whatever it is that you're wanting to do with this information once it's attained, that they are more than welcome to just go about their lives as they were beforehand.
What, do you... Oh, do you think we're... No, you can leave. We're not keeping you here.
Similar things have been said to many of us previously.
He kind of leans back towards another chest and flips it open and reaches inside and pulls out 6 pouches and tosses them across the table. That's so silly. I'm very sorry. As you open the pouch, you can see it is filled with platinum. We were hoping to compensate for you for your efforts, as we mentioned in the letter, and judging by what we've seen of what you were able to do in Goldford, offer you a job.
You want to employ us based on that catastrophe? We made
Absolutely. In a city of thousands, you were the only 6 people who were able to figure out what went wrong. And then, this is the most important part, when you realized you couldn't help, you didn't die fruitlessly. You left to go get help from neighboring towns.
Thank you. I do believe that that's been a point of contention as to whether or not we should have died.
We weren't successful. We didn't successfully stop anything. Would you not rather find someone who is capable of doing that?
Oh, don't get us wrong. You would be one of many teams that we employ, but this is a very large thing that the six of you have gone through and that the six of you have done. And the six people that I see here before me look like they don't want that to happen again. And that is... I'll put it this way. There's a lot of criteria that one needs to be considered to join the Weft, and the six of you fill pages of information on that criteria.
Well, that's fair. I would just have you know that we do not do things fruitlessly.
Absolutely. You will be compensated with a salary and provided supplies as well for your own individual endeavors. And we can even discuss additional projects if you are willing to join us to try to prevent these sort of things from happening in the future. But again, I'm springing a lot of you on once, and we still do need to get your record of what actually happened on that day. So perhaps I'm getting a bit ahead of myself.
Well, we all experienced much the same thing. Who would like to tell the man?
Well, from my recollection, it started with everyone, aside from my sister and I, being kidnapped.
We can fast forward through this if you guys want to.
Okay, go.
And
Cool.
yep,
And that's how it
we tell
happened.
the entire story.
Every single thing that happened, we didn't forget a detail.
Wait,
And then
I personally think if we're telling the story that we should maybe leave out the bit where we spend 20 minutes discussing whether or not to take somebody's face.
Yeah, me too.
I know.
Oh,
In the parts that Oriana volunteers, she's going to attempt to make them look a little better than they were. Because there was a bit of shady shit going on. She's not lying, she's just omitting a few things
Yeah.
that don't look nice on paper.
Just
I
trying
think
to
also like
me.
I guess like reaffirming too like what parts that we found suspicious and such, like the fact that we went to them and there were like I had the interaction with Rilio and he was a really dodgy shady dude who was also related to the guard captain. Like that, I guess like putting in my notation of like I thought that was really weird kind of thing.
Personal emphasis.
Yeah,
And,
that's
like,
it.
With how the mayor didn't seem worried, and then because I guess we still don't really know what happened there, but we would just like mention like all our suspicions and stuff.
Mm-hmm. He's taking notes furiously, and you can see he's also got an assistant who comes over and helps him take notes as well.
May I just ask one thing?
Yes.
Well, the nobility that were at the party of the mayor, you said no one survived.
Not that we can tell.
Did you find the bodies of everyone that was attending?
We have found a very large number of bodies. The town didn't do a great job. The survivors didn't do a great job cleaning up. It's quite sad, actually. We hope to help them with restoration efforts once we've finished with our investigation. But
So no one catalogued who is left?
the town gathered all the bodies together in a pile, the bodies that they cared to, and high-end homes and abodes were some of the first to be ransacked by bandits.
Well, I guess they
we-
don't need it, so.
We were not the first people to make it to Goldford, not by a long shot.
Did you meet the herbalist? Did she make her way out?
Oh, yes. Where's her name? Shania, right?
Yes.
I am afraid she did not survive.
Shit.
Very unfortunate.
As far as we can tell, she died in the struggle against Cordast on the second day.
Oh, but the poison advice, that seems to have helped.
I would assume that she would have been one of the people rallying to go and confront Cord.
That's what our records seem to indicate, yes. She was able to gather together a group of survivors and some of her old, from what we can tell, adventuring friends from back in the day, to lead the people against Cordast, but such is life sometimes.
I understand that probably have more questions, but do you know anyone who has survived? You said it was 93%, right?
Most of the people in the area have evacuated the town itself. The town was meant to thrive on trade and food coming in, water being pulled up from multiple wells, textiles and goods being transited in, but without a population to buy those goods, traders stopped coming, and the town itself became empty. We do have some survivors that we've asked to stay nearby, but no one is immediately within the camp, and the city itself is largely empty.
I guess, like, from a meta perspective, I'm asking if it's anyone that we knew. So maybe we could pretend that I asked questions about who was actually left. If you know what I mean.
Sure. Who else do you guys know or want to know
What
about?
Hawk?
Yeah, Hawk.
He
or
dead?
The guy we left
the shitty guy. Yeah.
Hork knew about the plan. He left town.
Okay.
Oh, that's good.
Yay!
Yay!
Yeah, what about Shady Guy? The guy was tied up. What was his flipping
Well,
name?
we took his antidote, so
Yeah, he's probably
That
hit.
that didn't go so well for him.
But I mean, he was inside at the same time.
It was Sapro?
Sapro, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Our records seem to indicate that Sapro also escaped.
what about
Little shit.
I suggest
anyone in
we visit these survivors.
What about the guard captain?
Yes, that's what I was wondering as well.
Quadrim? That is a good question. Let me roll a d20 for that. Our records seem to indicate that he's survived. We've sent letters and messages, but have not received any responses.
That
If
seems
you
very
find him, make
curious.
sense.
Yes, considering his son was involved.
And that he
was-
was
If you
also at the party.
Yes, he was involved in our arrest. Well, our attempted arrest.
I'll see if we can redouble our efforts, and if possible, we can try to scry his location if we are able to find anything that corroborates that he was involved. But this is a good lead.
Yes, I was very suspicious of him. I think that you should be too.
And you said he was the one who was outside your window when you were in the manor.
Yes, he
Yeah.
was guarding us.
He
Yes.
really was quite easy to fool, though. He didn't seem that smart of a man. You really just antagonized him, and he was sick of us in a mere minute.
DM saying, hey. Excellent. This is fantastic. There's a lot that we can do with this. Do you have any other questions?
What kind of perimeter are you keeping on the town to stop people going in while you're investigating?
None, really.
Because I have
It's-
just recently treated a boy from Farwatch that came in with his friends and managed to find some leftover fireworks.
He turns and looks, and you can see there's a gnome in the corner who looks up at him and is like, I closed the gates. I swear I locked the gates. And Elidir kind of, then lock them again, tighter this time, please. And the gnome, okay, I'll be back, and runs out.
Bryn will produce the sparkler that she had as well.
The
And
chewed on sparkler.
yeah,
He sees you holding it in his hand, and has that been chewed on?
it's a very long.
Bryn, please tell me that it wasn't you that chewed on it.
He's like, I've changed my mind about employing you.
He's like,
That's what
idiot.
gets him.
I come from a very prestigious line of herbalists and medical background. I can assure you that, irrespective of knowing that there's the potential of Squire's Bane in this, I do not chew on things that are used for ignition.
That's very good. Would you like to hold on to that? We have a reserve that we're going to dispose of.
Certainly, she'll just tuck it back in her inventory.
Okay. You have a chewed-on sparkler of
Well, she
death.
hasn't assessed it yet.
Yeah.
What's poison? She'll just lay on hands everyone. Everyone down.
While this sort of part of the conversation is going on, any way for Eminence to kind of try to quietly take Aery aside, or would it be very obvious, like the act of them leaving the table?
I mean, the six of you or I suppose seven of you with Eredan are all sitting around a table together. You're totally free to get up and like get water and walk around. So if the two of you get up and take it aside, that's totally fine.
Yeah, okay. I might try to drag Aery into sort of a quiet corner. And listen, this whole adventure we've gotten ourselves into recently, how married to it are you, really?
Well, it was a bit of fun, but
You're getting
Oriana
bored too?
is right. Yeah, we have been
Oh,
getting
thank God.
closer and closer to being caught, and I would really not like to go to jail or,
There
you
are
know,
only so many nobles you can tie up and strip.
I
And
know,
before
you
it
just
starts,
start to run out eventually, and people catch on.
they'll start to look the same, you know?
Yes, well, they already kind
Yes.
of
Okay. Well, okay. So we're on the same page. This might be a good idea to stick around.
did. Yes, well, I kind of find it difficult to trust the whole premise of it, but it does sound very exciting.
The platinum, I mean, that's something.
Yeah, that's always a plus.
And if whoever these people aren't who they say they are, then we have a new target.
Oh, I like that idea a lot.
Yes.
Okay,
Okay.
so they can't play us, but we will play them.
We're investigating them, you and I. We
I
can't tell the others just yet.
Okay,
Excellent.
nobody has to know.
Undercover bodies.
There's a single woman like next to you guys in the corner of the tent, like working with vials, and she looks over and I think you two are a really cute couple.
We are very,
You.
aren't we?
Yes. And thank you for your help, by the way.
It's no problem.
You're very welcome. Okay, I'll wander back and join the group.
Neat.
Awesome.
So at this point, I'm gonna just pipe up and say, so Eredan, was it? Did you've made a lot of noise about how terrible what happened was and how you'd like to prevent the same thing ever happening anywhere else again, but you haven't actually given us any details about exactly what kind of work you would have us performing. So if we're gonna be in your employ, what are you gonna have us do?
Oh, I mean, you wouldn't necessarily be in my employ. I also work for the Weft. Though I'm sure if you were interested in having me as sort of a manager, we could arrange something like that. That's where things are up to you. We have leads on individuals who prompt suspicion that we could provide to you to try to investigate. But it's also up to you. If you choose to ignore all of those leads and go someplace else on your own, it's well within your rights to do whatever you like to promote the health and wellness of the weave.
I guess what I'm trying to say is I have no interest in being an assassin for hire, if that's what's going on here.
No, you don't need to kill if you are opposed to it. We have some of our members who are very against it. You'll just often find that individuals who use magic for nefarious purposes often have no such qualms, which leads to conflict.
And that's fair enough. All right, thank you.
I
Oh,
don't
and one
think
more thing.
we're opposed to self-defense, at least. So in that regard, we should be able to hold our own.
Indeed. One more thing. This, and I hold out the little bag of platinum he gave me before. Working with your group later on is maybe fair enough, but I don't feel that I have any right to take any money for what went down here. What the others decide to do is completely on them, but I don't want this. Maybe use it on the survivors if you can, or if they need anything. I can't take it.
Eredan, we have Healthy Coppers, an organization that has been around for thousands of years, has a comfortable bank to work with. We will do everything we can to help the survivors and the city of Goldford when the time comes for that, but I don't want to say this poorly, but we want to encourage you to take credit for what you have done. Not the city that you failed, but instead the people that you saved. For that, we are willing to pay you this. And for being willing to do that more for people elsewhere within the world, we'll be willing to pay even more.
All right. I pick it up again.
When he says failed as well, Natalie's going to share a glance with Bryn before she like crosses her arms and like looks away from the table.
Like acknowledge, like with the eye contact and kind of just like, yeah, I feel that.
The silent communication verbally done. I understand this is a lot. Why don't we go ahead and take a break for lunch at this point? I hear old Namus is making a stew again. We can offer some to you if you like. If you have your own rations, that's acceptable as well. But why don't we go ahead and take a break?
Oh, we should have packed rations, shouldn't we?
You don't have
I have
I
food.
did not have food.
Well, then, I mean, it's here we are with someone offering us food, so it turns out we didn't really need it. Correct.
Well, we have the opportunity to be better prepared for any further advent we do together.
I will keep in mind to bring extra.
As
Or
will
we
I.
can just let kind strangers feed us along the way.
Wow.
Kind strangers.
I'm trying to imagine how how Aery and Eminence think that they've been fed for the past year. It's just like
Yeah, I know, right? What have they been eating?
on the
We're like,
table.
we're like pets, where they're just I scream, I get food, and that is the process.
Ariana's
am
like
hungry
half
food
pulling her
is,
hair
what's
out
the
at this
problem?
point. Like,
How many platinum as well for us?
15 platinum.
Oh,
Nice.
that's a lot of money.
That is a lot of money.
I went
That's a
from 1
fuckload of
gold
money.
to more gold.
That's how getting paid works.
Yes,
I like to imagine the two of you would go to like Costco and just eat all of the samples and be like, great, that's lunch.
Yeah.
No, we wouldn't go to
Probably, yeah.
Costco. We would just like
Rich people Costco?
yeah. We would just
We'd go to like Whole Foods.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but then you would like go to like really high-end like boutique like curated meat stores and things like that, and then
Just
you'd
sampling.
you'd
Yeah.
harass them that they don't offer samples of just like, do you know who we are? And they'd offer samples and you'd
Yeah.
leave.
I'm considering buying this very expensive cheese, but I must try it first.
Wandering through duty free and just eating things.
Spritzing ourselves with perfume as we go.
Yeah.
Then, like since we're in a city and we have money, we could have just bought food. Like we would have.
I don't think there's been a point in this entire year that Aery and Eminence haven't been near a restaurant. So when it's time to like stop
if anyone-
thieving
Oh,
and
no,
doing
woman.
general mischief, we just go get like Thai food.
Just like every time you walk past like a cafe or a restaurant, you're like, I always wondered what those buildings were for. Yeah, it's strange.
Okay. You each are given food, and Alishiera says, I imagine you have a lot to discuss. Why don't we go ahead and take a break for 30 minutes, an hour, and you talk about whatever needs to be discussed.
It's reasonable.
And
All right.
I'll be inside, and walks into the tent.
Nice.
Well, I'm quite happy to take him up on his offer. I think this is quite an opportunity for all of us. And then I'd like to subtly wink at Aery.
I'll wink back.
How
Make
subtle
a-
is this?
Make a sleight of hand check. Sleight of face.
Sleight of face. Let's see. 10.
10.
Yeah.
Anyone with intelligence above 10 can see that.
Oh,
Intelligence or wisdom? Because my passive perception is 13.
Oh,
but
I'm looking at the wrong one.
intelligence-
No, you're right. Wisdom, passive wisdom.
oh, okay, cool.
So is that what everyone?
I think everyone.
I would think it would be everyone, pretty much.
I have a wisdom of 10 because I make terrible life decisions.
It goes over Eredan's head.
Yes, quite. And Bryn will wink back at Eminence as well.
I'm startled. Did anyone notice?
She saw. Oh no.
Cover it.
Well, I'm
Stick to
glad
the plan.
to
Stick to the plan. Go.
I'm glad to see the both of you so willing to help. It's very heartening to know that you have
Thanks.
such good intentions here.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, the consultation aside of the questioning that we just gave and responded to, I'm assuming it's just really information collecting that they're mainly interested in doing, which I know I'm personally more than happy to do after what we did witness. Although I do now, after a year of reflection, agree with the sentiment of leaving was the best course of action that we could have done. It does still eat at me in quiet moments that there could have been more that we did.
Maybe.
Well, yeah,
this
and
is-
literally, we could have died, and then you wouldn't get to spend any of those quiet moments thinking about anything.
Well, I don't know if I would have died, but I'm happy that you guys didn't.
Interesting.
But now that we're here, seems like a fairly general consensus that's we system. I mean, we may as well hear exactly what the first task that they wish us to do is.
I think it would be
Yes.
good if we can maybe be in a position where we can have a few steps ahead of the game next time.
Yes,
Right.
this would definitely be at an advantage if we weren't kidnapped, tricked into this plan 24 hours in
Yes, and
advance next time.
this time we'll have funding, we'll have support, we'll have expertise.
Potential immunity when it comes to crime.
Oh, that would
Yes,
be nice.
potential immunity.
We should definitely ask about that.
yes.
I
Definitely.
don't believe that outside of their care for the weak, petty crime is necessarily in their repertoire to sweep under the rug.
I don't see
Well,
why not.
Let's just say somebody's going to have to sweep it under the rug.
Well,
Not sure how you
Oh, do we get a maid as well? They didn't mention that.
No, I don't. I think that it would be very self-sufficient. It would be the funding, and then, I mean, I guess with the money you could procure a maid. Although if we're traveling, what are they going to dust your tent?
Yeah, it's very nice.
Actually, that would be very helpful.
Yes.
Do you not use prestidigitation?
Yes, but we wouldn't have to do that at all if there was a maid.
We don't need a maid.
That's what you think. But maybe we need a maid.
Well, I'm sure that between the both of you make an excellent selection on the individual that you wish to perform maidly duties for you. This Alishiera, he did seem quite forthcoming, but there's something. I don't know if he was fully forthcoming with us. He certainly was genuine in his wish to get to the bottom of this and all of its intricacies, but I just feel like there's something else that he wants out of this as well.
I want to step in real quick as the DM. The thing that he was hiding was that he wanted to hire you guys.
Oh, okay, so he wasn't the ulterior motive. Okay.
Yeah.
I think that he wants to hire us really badly.
You don't walk into a conversation with 6 people and you're like, hello, what happened here? Do you want a job?
I mean, I know
good.
some people that probably would do that. I mean, I can't really blame him. We all did splendid, if I do say so myself.
We are indeed. I noticed your new steed, by the way.
Oh, yes,
Oh,
so
yeah.
beautiful.
His name is Arden. He's very lovely.
I love him.
He's
Oh.
lovely.
You know, I don't mind. Has everyone got horses? Sorry, this is like. Did everyone come here on horses?
I mean, I guan we must have, right?
Yeah,
Like,
I
we
mean,
wouldn't
Yeah.
walk.
by now
We
we
wouldn't have got here
like-
in time, I guess. if
I
we-
had like a carriage or something, but I don't know.
honestly, if you two are in a carriage, Oriana is outside with a horse. She's not...
Sitting out front, yeah.
Oh God!
Just driving
can
the
you
carriage.
Could you imagine all the plots that they would be weaving if they were left alone for a several-day journey in a carriage with no one supervising them? Good Lord!
Yes, but can you imagine also having to hear all of those plots? Like,
Yes.
Oriana is outside.
Well, you wouldn't have heard the plot straight out. You would have heard them very loosely trying to disguise that they were plotting something.
We generally quite openly plot. It's just like the
Oh, in front of strangers, it was the.
But yeah, I don't know if we would have got a carriage or a horse. But like this, I don't know. There's horses involved.
I'm sure they can give
Yeah.
us horses. They said that
I
they're
mean, I
very
also-
well funded.
Yeah, I feel like at some point we could have stolen a carriage. That's feasible.
I feel like we
Sure.
We could manage that.
we're not full on criminals. We only steal
No.
from rich people.
We're
It's a
basically
carriage,
Robin Hood.
carriage.
Yeah,
We're the good guys.
exactly.
Isn't that what the bad guys say?
If they were good guys, obviously. Other bad guys might say that, but not us.
Yeah. We're different. We're
Well,
special.
Yeah.
How has everyone been keeping, by the way, this last year? I mean, what has it been 6 months since I last saw the 3 of you? And Natalie, you left quite early on. Journey, I
Yeah.
guess.
It was quite early in the piece, I guess.
Right, Natalie. I mean, you've always been a bit quiet, but I mean, I don't remember you being quite so. You know.
Feel free to elaborate.
You know.
Surly?
Yes, you seem kind of touchy.
Sad?
Boring.
And she just kind of like composes herself for a moment, and it's just like that deep, long sigh. And she just tries to like control her face, and like you can see like a little like twitch.
See, yes, this is exactly what we mean.
Exactly what we're talking about.
You're so closed off, you know. It's like everything just annoys you so much.
And she just kind of gives this like little laugh. Tiny, tiny one before she like recomposes herself.
See, she's closing us out already.
I'm not closing you out. It's hard to make light of a serious situation, I think.
I find that it
You
is
should
the
keep
best
trying.
way
It
to
gets quite fun.
Yes, it's the best way to handle a serious situation is try to make light of it.
Maybe you can teach me how to do that.
We will
I would
try.
love to.
And this time she'll like actually kind of like smile a little.
Much better.
There it is.
You have such a lovely smile.
Thanks. And then just like you see like the big tusks like they move as she talks, like taking up a lot of her face.
What about the three of you? Last time I left, you were courting some noblemen, were you not, Aery? How did that turn out?
Very good. We got exactly what we wanted out of them, which was their time and affection. And yes, it was just a nice time all around, and they respect us a lot.
Wait, respected us a lot? I thought you were courting him.
Oh, you know, well, whatever.
There were a few different noblemen, friends of his.
I feel like this is not a conversation that you want to have.
Oh,
It is not a conversation that I wish to hear.
oh,
Oh, you've always been such a prude.
oh, was it
Yeah,
a hard...
that's what my problem with is in this situation. Absolutely.
Oh, if it was a hard breakup, you don't need to talk about it. Sorry I asked. It seemed to be going very well
I'm
at the
great
time.
about it. Oriana
That's
doesn't
good to
have
hear.
fun. We call her No Fun Oriana.
We
she
do.
hates
Mostly
fun.
behind her back. But...
Sometimes to
Oh.
her face. Like now.
Sometimes to my face, yes.
Oh, I don't know if that's no fun. You should challenge her to a game of dragon chess. We had a very good time.
No,
Oh,
thank
yes,
you. I
she's
said I wanted to have
terrible
fun.
at dragon chess.
I had fun when we played.
Well, that's very nice for you guys.
Okay, that's fair enough, I guess. But after we talked dear again, then Bryn's
Oh,
just like
I
a
would
little
like
bit
to know what-
deflated.
I would like to know what Eredan's been up to all this time. But I don't think he can hear us right now. Or maybe he can.
I can. I'm
Oh.
all good now.
Emergency tech support.
Over his keyboard.
Oh, is that what that was? Oh no.
Everywhere. It's all good.
We also saw you on the kitchen floor for a little bit, so.
Yeah, I also dropped the mug.
Oh. Game over.
Sorry, since we're just being open about this little disaster, what have I just missed?
We
You've
were
been
basically
talking
just
about-
talking shit. And then, yeah, just talking shit about what we've been up to. And then we asked Eredan
Alright.
where he's been.
Oh, good. Thank you. I've mostly been, well, let's just say, when you last met me, you probably noticed that I was a bit preoccupied. Let's put it that way. I've spent the intervening time chasing down leads, attempting to solve the problems that have been following me for a while. Have got at least something. That
Oh,
might-
yes, you were being chased by something, weren't you?
Yeah, something is definitely the word I would use rather than somebody.
Well, how's that going?
Well, definitely still a work in progress. I've managed to find a lead at least, but I don't know. We'll see. I don't think it'll be anything that should interfere with what we're doing for the time being.
So you're still being followed by this terrifying being?
Maybe. I'm not really sure. One of the I was cursed as let's just say I offended something that I shouldn't have played a prank on, and in response, he cursed me. So sometimes I see things that might not be there, but and sometimes they're real, and I don't really know whether I'm being followed or if I'm just hallucinating or what's really going on. But it's never anything big. It's just little hints of.
Well, if we are all going to be traveling together, you can tell us about it, and then we can tell you if something is real or not,
I also feel like you told us, I'd
I
say,
appreciate that.
80% of the story minus the name.
I
Who cursed
I don't
you?
I don't really have a name. I mean, I feel like if I did have a name, that would solve a lot of the problems. A being I know only as the Lord of Winter.
Oh, you pulled a prank on the Fey Lord? That's stupid.
Yeah, I didn't know that's what I was doing at the time. My
Eredan.
yeah, I'm in a lot of trouble. I think my father made some kind of deal or contract with this person, and I was trying to pull a prank on him, and it kind of backfired quite a lot. And here we are to abbreviate things. So at least I think if you're going to be traveling with me, I think it's only fair that you know at least that much. But
Out of character,
Yeah.
how much would the other people in this party know about the Fae? Is that something that's kind of common knowledge, or is that?
The elves probably have common knowledge. Yeah, the Fae is kind of like an allegory for elven heaven and hell. There's the Feywild, which is like the good side, and then there's the Shadowfell, which is the bad side. And if this is the plane of existence, the Feywild is on top, the Shadowfell is directly underneath, but all three share the same physical space. So it's kind of like this weird dimensional shenanigans. But I imagine that, like, as children, you probably, well, as children, specifically the two sisters, maybe not so much. You might have learned about it when researching different planes, but for the rest of you, you probably know of the Feywild as, like, the boogeyman will come out of the Shadowfell and get you. And we leave candy by the foot of the lilies so that the fairies who come by at the pre-dawn light can eat the candy and dance with the lilies from the Feywild. So stuff like that.
So it's like very like superstitious kind of thing.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, it's literally fairy tales, right? Like,
yeah. It's literally fairy tales, but sometimes they're real. So there is a bit of gravity to it.
Right.
Yeah. If it does catch up with me, it won't come after any of you. There won't be an interest.
Well, I suppose that's good to know.
Who knows? Maybe this thing, this initiative, this... I don't even really know what it is, except apparently they're quilters.
Avengers Initiative.
At least they might be able to help. It's magic related, right? Could
Seems
have
as
some
good
kind
as
of
that as any.
protection.
And my policy thus far has just been to keep moving and not stay in one place for too long. If we're living as adventurers, that works.
Yeah. I think that's good.
Well, just remember this: you can talk to us about it if you think something strange is going on, and maybe we can help.
That would be helpful. Thank you.
Also, if the things that you think you're seeing are real, it would be good for us to know about them.
Yes, you can always point out.
Fair.
You can always point out that there's a particular individual you find suspicious that you think would be an agent of them, and I can tell you at least if they're Fae.
Thank you.
Can also-
Yeah, that would be appreciated. If nothing else, it'd be nice to know whether I'm hallucinating or not.
We got you,
Alright,
boo.
what do you think of this Eladir? He's everything he's saying sounds nice on the surface, but well, we've been fooled before.
He really, really wanted to hire us. Like, he really, like, couldn't wait to ask if we wanted to take a job from him. So, I mean, that in and of itself is a good sign. He was as forthcoming as one can expect.
I think it's just interesting. I don't.
Do any of us have any objections to taking this job?
No, not at all.
No.
If we can avoid another magical calamity that kills a lot of people, I'm more than for doing that.
Honestly, don't really have anything better to do at the moment, so yeah, as well.
No objections, just reservations.
It sounds like, provided we don't sign any official contracts, we'll be able to work fairly autonomously, just with each other. And I have no problems with any of you. Mostly.
I
And
have
she's
some
just-
reservations. No.
Just
It does seem to be a very work on commission almost. Like, you get paid for the work that you do. So I don't know how much significant pressure there's going to be on us to complete tasks in any kind of expediency unless it's specifically stated.
I think maybe we also, I don't think we say no, but let's also find out what a first job might look like.
It's a thought.
Yes, that's a good idea, actually.
And
And
we'll
break.
if everyone's like happy, I guess we'll kind of signal somehow to
Awesome. He's inside the
Eladir.
tent. You guys
Oh,
are
right.
outside. This was lunch.
Yeah, neat.
Oh, I thought he left us inside the tent and he went outside.
No, that's the command tent.
Yeah,
Fuck that noise.
People!
yeah, we are very nice people. Yeah, I guess we go back to the command tent then if everyone's in like agreement.
Yeah, Eldur kind of he's communicating with. Wow. Okay, brain. He was communicating with someone and just looked up. My brain was just like trying to get through the word communicating. And motions back over to the table and how was everyone's lunch?
Wait, did we actually have the lunch?
Yeah, did we eat the stew?
Retroactively, I'm
he
sure that-
offered
Yeah.
you suit.
I'm assuming that we would have gone and gotten bowls and then discussed as
Yeah.
we were eating, kind of.
Yeah.
I
yeah.
hope it was good.
Was it good?
Oh,
Let
can
us
we
roll
roll?
to
Can
see
we
how good
roll
it
for
was.
good?
Sure. We've got a 9 on the good scale.
I mean,
It was incredibly average.
It is
I've had worse.
sustenance and nutrition.
It is incredible, isn't it? He puts in so much salt and pepper, and it still comes out with no flavor.
Yes, it really is quite impressive.
This makes you
Hmm,
really
a skill, to be
thirsty.
sure.
If you
Yes.
know any mages, you might get. I'm pretty sure that they can fake spice.
Look, we've had conversations about this so many times before. You can only eat so many good berries before you lose it.
That's fair.
Anyways, sorry. How was the conversation? Were you able to come to a decision?
We have.
More or
That's
less.
good.
Well, we would like to know what our first job would be before we say yes. If we are going to say yes, we would like to know.
Of course, yes. Well, this is where things get a little bit interesting. We do have something that we think might be suitable for the 6 of you. However, I hate the trope, but generally, people joining our teams have tragic backstories. So it's actually become a bit of a corporation policy to, when newly hired to the company, to allow people to resolve any storylines that might inhibit them from performing their work to their fullest.
there's
So
like a
we do
training
have something for
sequence.
you. Yeah, we do have something for you if you're interested. However, we also understand if you would like to join, but have other things that you need to attend to.
Oh, I feel great. I don't need to attend to anything.
Yes, I
No,
don't think I have
I'm
anything.
quite
that-
free actually.
Yeah.
Mm.
No tragedy here.
No.
Nope, no tragedy whatsoever. Nothing happened.
Just having a nice time. for
Five
us
heads just
until now.
simultaneously turn towards Eredan.
Huh? Oh, me?
Yeah, you with the tragic backstory you were just telling us.
I mean, it's fine.
And that thing we were just saying about getting help. This is the chance to get the help.
Where the hell?
Alright, that's fair. I never thought I would hear you say that you would help Eminence.
She's done a lot of character development over the past year.
That is fair.
Lots of
Just better
maid
pretend
outfits.
Yeah,
Alright,
she picked up a lovely maid outfit. That's how she snuck into one of the rich people's houses.
yeah, for sure. Alright, Ella dear, you said, well, if you have any mages, I have a particular item I might like one of them to have a look at for me. But
Yes. So I sent to you in your DMs just now while we were talking because I forgot to send it to you in the break.
I just missed it.
Yeah. Let me know if you have any questions for it.
Oh, right, cool. Yep, no worries.
Awesome.
Cheers.
Yes, we have many mages. We are an organization that is built around magic. We can do that.
Excellent.
But why don't I list to you what we currently have, and you can choose what seems appropriate for you. Whether that's solving whatever personal problems you may have, or taking on this project here.
Sounds good. Go ahead. Before we go too much further, I don't think it's fair to say I'm the only one with a tragic backstory. Oriana and Eminence, I don't know what was going on in that dungeon when we first met, but it seemed like you knew something, or that there was some demon lord that was maybe not happy with the two of you.
Oh no, that's
We have some
really-
experience with demons, but I wouldn't call it any kind of tragedy. It's really not important.
Oh, yes,
nobody's
that might
chasing
be-
us.
Might be an important note to mention if you didn't already know. I think they were trying to make it look like some kind of demon devil worship kind of cover up. There was some very
Yes, we found the bunker underneath the warehouse.
it did not
Yeah.
seem particularly genuine to, I believe, Oriana and Eminence. You said that it seemed quite tacky.
Oh
It was
yes.
amateur, absolutely.
So I don't
It
know how
really
much
looked
yeah,
like
that-
they went, this looks like a demon thing, and just threw it in a corner. I really don't think that's anything to worry about.
No.
Yes, the entire
Right.
dungeon looked like a hot topic.
It's terrible.
What we like is a popular tale in
Oh,
this world.
amazing.
Yes, it's lukewarm tapas.
Yeah. All right, that's fair.
Okay, then I'll. Oh no!
Oh no.
He closes his book again.
I was curious. Do you have a name for the place that Natalie came from?
Do you want one?
Well, I had just kind of gone, I come from this very specific place that does not have a name because I didn't know how it fit into your story in case it was like official world or not official world.
Yes.
So it was like a
well,
mountain ranges.
We have gone off of official world and into homebrew land,
Okay.
so we can find a thing.
We'll just say pretend placeholder name here because, we haven't done that yet. But Natalie will just kind of turn to him and just... You haven't done any work near placeholder name that we have not mentioned at this point that Natalie has come from.
Panam.
Panam. Huh.
But with an H. P-A-H-N-A-M.
So we don't get sued.
I was trying to take placeholder name and bite it up.
Yeah.
Planum.
Planum. Love a planum.
Oh, Planum. This time of year? It's the butt of a lot of puns. Have we done work near Planum? Not that I'm aware of. We're pretty much all over, so I can ask home base and see what they come up with.
Personal interest, you probably understand.
Oh, of course.
I guess if anything does arise from around there, it would be good to know.
Yes, we'll take a look.
Thank you.
Well, okay, all right. I'll read the thing that I have. To the south, near Val-Eter, there is a forest in the deep wood called the Forest of Statues. Whenever the dead, someone who has died, is buried within the Forest of Statues, a stone statue rises up from their grave with an absolute likeness of the deceased. Now, a new statue has recently appeared within the forest that is a perfect likeness of the current monarch of Val-Eter. The only problem is he's still ruling it. We'd like you to investigate. We think that seems suitable to your skills.
Well, that sounds fun.
Which monarch is this that we are talking about?
What monarch is he? I do not have a name for him yet.
Okay,
Neat.
that's fine.
Monarch.
Well, I think that seems to be well within our capabilities to go and see what's going on there.
South, you said.
Yes, Val-Eter.
Are there any issues entering the place? Is it just if you die
Not-
that needs to be an issue?
Yes, any dangers in the forest we should know about?
Well, the deep wood is home to some larger creatures that prefer to be left alone. There are the stories of a hydra living deep within the forest, but
Oh, that's fun.
Nope. Nobody really goes there, so we can't verify the truth of those stories. From Goldford, it's a straight shot on the South Road. The road has fallen into a bit of disrepair since Goldford's demise, but it should still be easily travelable.
You said that people are buried there. Who does the burying? Is there a particular...
The people who are living. So if for example, your grandfather died and you were hoping to honor them, you would take their body to the Forest of Statues, bury it within the forest, and then the statue would rise up.
Not attended by a particular clergy or anything like that? Is sacred ground or anything
No,
like this?
not that we know of.
Interesting.
What? Do you have a map? To the graves specifically in the forest?
In the forest.
Or are we just
I'm-
gonna wander around until we see a king?
I imagine you can ask around. It's been generating a lot of conversation.
And Val-Eter is the closest township to that? Is it the
Yes,
closest-
it is. It is the closest town to the deep wood.
How long would it take us to get there?
By road, I would say no more than 2 weeks. On horse.
Ugh.
Right.
That's really not too bad.
Speak for
Let's-
yourself.
Well, we'll make sure that we have rations organized for it. And
So, I take it that you're accepting it?
We find this acceptable for the time being.
Oriana has spoken. That's good enough for me.
We find it acceptable.
Mm.
That's very good. That's very good. In that case, here, and he kind of reaches over, and you can see there's like a sheet of papers. He pulls out a handful of the papers and quickly writes something on the top of one page, then writes something on the top of the next page, and so on. And he does this for 6 pieces of paper, and he sets them out on top of the table, and on top of which you can see a name. You see Eladir Mirathana. And go ahead.
I have one more question.
Yes.
Is there anything that we like specifically really shouldn't do? Because do we have pretty much free reign? Like, as long as we figure out what's going on.
We frown upon unnecessary violence.
What do you count as unnecessary? Oh,
Okay.
kill innocent people, but you know,
He looks over at Bryn and says, Bryn seems to have a pretty good tap on that.
Okay.
When in doubt, I would say ask between Bryn and Natalie. They seem to have things locked down.
Sure. Okay, we can do that. As long as Bryn and Natalie say that it's fine, we can do whatever we want. Not
Unnecessary violence. We frown upon murder, unnecessarily exploitation, using this situation, this position that you find yourself in
If it's
for personal
necessary,
gain
is
or
it really
benefit.
murder?
Self-defense is justifiable. Murder is very frowned upon unless there is literally no other way to prevent a cataclysmic event.
Noted.
I don't usually murder people anyway, so that's not really a problem for me. I just want to know,
Yes. Again, these 6 pieces of paper, you'll see my name on them, Eladir Mirathana. These are paper birds. Simply write your letter and fold it in the middle, just as you would a regular letter, and the letter will find its way to me, unless one of you knows message or sending.
Oh, not personally.
Excellent. Then here are these paper birds. You can reach out to me if you have any questions or require assistance or supplies, and we can see what we can do to support you in that position.
could we have some horses, please?
Yes, I'm sure we can acquire some for you.
Okay, nice ones.
And in the process of our inquiry, is obviously you've highlighted that extortion and manipulation using the weft is very much frowned upon. Is it something that we should use in caution in general? I have not heard of weft outside of this interaction, but is it a name that could provoke negative response from an individual?
We try to keep a low profile. The fact that you haven't heard of us speaks to how successful we've been. In that same vein, that we're here now trying to resolve Goldford. Every stain is a black one on our record, I should say. Again, I would tell you of the many successes the weft has seen, but that would defeat the point.
We'd be wanting to request assistance aside from yourself with the messages you've given us. Is there anything that would indicate that someone could be associated, or is that not really
we don't have an official emblem or insignia to trade between them. Most teams of the weft operate directly to a manager and sort of an upside down tree hierarchy. That said, we've got people just about everywhere. if not directly involved, working for the organization, working on behalf of it.
And I would assume that's where the only team that would be assigned to this particular charge, or do you usually deploy
That
more
I
teams?
know of. As far as I have been told, you are the only team that we would be deploying. I would have somebody roll a d20 and somebody else roll a d6.
I can do a D6.
I'll do D20.
5.
What?
There you go.
That's crazy.
You are Team I.
EYE? Or just
I, the letter I. Yeah.
It can be Team either because that's cooler.
That can still be our.
We can have
Yeah,
like
that's gonna be
we
our.
can make ourselves a logo. And...
Or like an eye
You can
inside a
embroider,
triangle or something.
I think that would
An eye.
Oh no! Oh my god!
Yeah.
it was like a pyramid.
No, it also starts with
yeah.
I.
Pyramid.
Yeah, and then we can like start pointing out.
Illuminati.
Yeah, we can start pointing out whenever we see triangles in anything as well, and then relate it back to us.
What have I done?
A very, very good thing.
Yes.
Thank you. Hours of fun.
Okay. I would ask for an update within 30 days. Just so that I can keep tabs on it, and from there we will communicate updates forward.
That sounds fair.
Yeah, meanwhile, I'll take care of the paperwork with home base and see about setting you up with supplies and that salary.
How much would that salary be?
I think per annum we could do, let's say, there's 6 of you, 6,000.
So we get 1,000 each? Or
No, 6,000 to each of you per year.
Much more acceptable.
Gold, I should clarify, not platinum.
No.
I was like, oh, cool, we're splitting a salary. Let's just
Yeah.
bump up some team members. That's not great.
Well,
and
unless
then on top of that we get like supplies and things, right?
Yes, we can provide you with basic supplies for little to no cost. However, larger items, such as magical items necessary for the job, may... we have people that need to make them, and they need to be compensated appropriately.
of course.
Sounds
Oh, someone's tired.
No, I just had like, you know when you get like a bubble in your nose and then you yawn and then it just goes like "Nee."
Fizzly.
Ah,
Yeah, the old fizzly bubble in the nose.
Yeah.
Is this a universal experience?
I've never had that happen.
No.
It's like the yawn equivalent of people... when people shiver when they pee. It's the yawn equivalent of that.
People shiver.
Wait,
when
I'm
they
not
pee?
peeing though.
Do people not?
Yeah, it's like a phenomenon that it's like X amount of people get.
No.
Yeah.
Wait, do you guys not? What the fuck?
Wait, so every time you pee?
Yes.
I don't think so.
No.
What?
It's not necessarily like it's not like necessarily every time that you go to the
It's-
bathroom you shiver, but it's like an involuntary.
It's a large
shudder that people
portion.
get.
Yeah.
Yeah, like they'll like when they.
I literally thought, like, my back is getting tense just thinking about it. This is weird. This is weird.
It is something that's more common in male.
Good D&D
When-
talk.
Yeah.
I know.
We talk about the
Maybe
hard
Brynjael.
facts here on this channel, okay? Is someone like fast googling shivering and peeing?
I am right now. I thought this was like one of those things that happen to everyone. This is blowing my mind. Blowing my mind hole.
I don't like where this discussion is going.
Hey, it's human anatomy. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Biology and all that.
It's like the people that can do the tongue thing.
That thing or the? Oh no, I can't do the double fold.
I can do that, but I
not
don't
Double
have
tongue?
it on camera.
Have we gotten
And-
entirely distracted from D&D? Is this
yeah.
possibly
No,
the
this
point
is
to
canon.
end?
Yeah,
Or...
this is canon conversation that's happening. But they're all discussing it like, oh, you don't shiver when you pee? Wow, interesting.
Elder does.
This is
How they
how we make friends.
Yeah.
It's not how
First
we
question
make food
you
Contract
are-
until
either.
Eladir explains how he pees. That's
Yeah.
Oh boy,
Boy.
this
So how
is
do
crazy.
we expect with payments as well? It's not of particular concern to me, but I'm sure that some of my companions would like to know where and how frequently payments would come.
We typically stick to a monthly payout. So for the 6 of you, that would be 500 per month. However, I'm sure we could do 250 bi-weekly.
But getting paid weekly is so much better.
I know
It
the
really
budget's so much, but
sucks.
everyone's like huddled again. Like just like, I don't know. Look, I believe that should be fine. We can always, if it's not suitable in one of our letters, we can always discuss expediting.
I'm just
Unless anyone
waiting
has
for
any
course.
particular qualms, I think monthly should be fine.
Monthly
Fine.
fine.
monthly.
Spectacular.
I'm just waiting for someone to bring up leave and superannuation.
Do you have
You can do that
do we
if you
get,
like.
yeah, do we get dental?
we have dental and vision. Our
yeah.
health insurance is with a specific provider. Oh, you guys don't have health insurance in Australia. Oh, I'm about
have
to blow
health
your mind so
insurance.
much.
No,
Yeah,
we
state
have
health
Medicare.
insurance.
No, we have health insurance. You're
Oh,
right.
that's right. Yeah.
No, you're thinking of the reverse where we have free healthcare.
Yeah. That's it.
You
That's
have
it.
free healthcare, and then you can pay for better healthcare as well, and it's not tied
Yes.
to whether you're employed or not.
That's
Yeah,
very
which
true.
means that if like someone offered dental in Australia, it'd be like, all right, I just get Medicare anyway. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Yes, we do offer health insurance through a private provider as well.
Hopefully we won't be
it's-
needing that.
It is not fully subsidized, but it is highly discounted.
What happens if we're injured really badly?
You,
Help rehabilitate us or, whatever?
yeah, if you're a valuable asset to the left, we do what we can to return you back.
What happens if we're injured and we would prefer a particular surgeon to help us after the case? Because I mean, certain professionals
have-
that don't do quite
We have a sending line that you can talk to.
I believe that Oriana and I will try to prevent the need of rehabilitation or corrective surgery while we're on the field.
I ensure my face.
That is a very valid question. I think that should be a guarantee.
I'm not joking.
Will your face help you do your job?
Oh, absolutely. You
absolutely.
see Aery in
Obviously.
conversation. It's an incredibly valuable asset to this.
I tell you what, I'll ask my manager and see if we can route this through HR. I haven't heard of it being done before,
Oh, I hate it.
and I'll get back to you.
Job, so like.
Yeah.
I think we should prepare for the first leg of our sleep.
When do we meet the horses so that we can choose our new horses?
Did
Well,
see
see-
some stables by Arden. I don't know if they're the ones that are.
Yes,
not-
those are the ones. Yes, we will be giving you some of our horses.
Okay. But we get to choose, right?
Yes, Aery and I get first dibs. I said it.
Of the horses that we give you, yes. Some of
believe
the
I did-
horses don't belong to us. They are on loan from farmers nearby.
Oh no, but of the horses we can choose from, Aery and myself get to choose first.
Yes, that I understand. There was no problem with that question. Yes, I understand. I know what dibs is.
Okay, let's go meet our new horses. Very important.
Okay. Aery, I think I did see quite a charming buckskin there.
Oh, lovely. So beautiful.
And does anybody else have any questions for Eladir?
No, sorry, we'll stop wasting time.
Amazing. That feeling when I get to negotiate health insurance. Go ahead.
I'm assuming that if they investigated the entire town, it's possible that they may have found the belongings that Eminence and I lost when we got there and our horses just fucked off. I do have some personal shit. Just if you've found bags.
I just want to be clear. You're asking if we've managed to scour a town of thousands.
Specifically, but given that
Or
you knew who we
2
were,
backpacks.
more than just backpacks. I feel like it is an entirely valid question.
I'll ask around.
Do you have sort of thing?
You cut out? Say again?
Do you have like lost and found where all the abandoned things were taken?
It's called the town.
That's
It's a ghost town.
Basically just a lost town.
I mean, you can go walk around in the town if you like.
I think we should leave before Eladir like significantly rethinks firing. He's gonna take our
Or
health
it-
insurance
Like,
away.
what the fuck were you thinking?
Or attacks us out of sheer frustration.
Yeah.
Please, he said he doesn't like unnecessary murder.
Brenna's
It might be necessary.
Brenna's standing at like the edge of the command tent, like holding up, ready when people are ready to leave, pulling aside
Aery
the
just wants to
curtain.
give me the horse
Yeah.
right now.
Can happy
Yeah, I'll eagerly walk out towards the stables.
Thank you.
On her way
Thank you
out,
for your
Natalie
time,
will,
Eladir. We're sorry we're a pain.
on her way out, Natalie will just ask if it is okay to get close-ish to the city.
We ask that if you do go into the city, you take at least some of our researchers with you, just to keep an eye out.
I understand. Just more something personal that I would like to maybe do.
Yes, I understand. We would be happy to.
Okay. Sure. And we'll head off out to go pick horses.
Okay, you guys go pick horses.
Are there any that look like I'm picturing like a pure black kind of well-groomed warm blood stallion type?
No.
Damn it. Are any of them black?
Yes.
Okay, but is the black one like the dinky looking one, like the runt?
God, let it be it.
Yes.
Excellent. It's a Shetland pony.
Peak
Yeah.
Dungeons and Dragons.
The angriest little horse on earth.
This is why you have to canonically interject that you saw something on the way in.
Aery, do you have any particular choices that you're after?
Yes, I like the pretty buckskin one, but is it nice? I have to meet it first before I know. Is the horse nice?
Make an animal handling check.
Does it like me? Very important!
Does imaginary horse like me?
19! Do I have anything extra?
No, yeah.
Animal
Just
hand-
making a horse like me is all I have.
3! This
22.
horse wants me!
Bitch.
You go over towards this horse, and it's pretty big. It's pretty well built, and it kind of nickers at your hand a little bit before giving your hand a lick, and then it looks you dead in the eye and just kind of gives like a gentle whinny.
Goes, fuck.
Remy, speak.
I was about
Fuck. Good boy.
I just looked you in the eye and says, fuck you.
Cool. Yes, I have a horse. This one is my horse.
Eladir's like, that one, what? Yep.
Okay.
Signing bonus.
I would like to approach
I just
whichever the
googled
most...
different kinds of horse.
I know, I was doing that earlier.
Do you mean breeds or coloration? Like,
Listen, don't
are
look
we
too
like-
far into it.
do we have like lipizanas up in this bitch? Or like Yeah.
There's
There-
like a brown one.
Do we have Andalusians? Do we have Frisians? Do we have...
There's
No.
there's a lot of horse going on.
Pretty much
Has
specified.
everyone seen that like the most beautiful horse that's like golden colored?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a Lipizzaner. It's a Palomino Lipizzaner, that one.
Is there
That'd
one
be
of those?
Ah, yes. they absolutely have
Incredible
horses
rare.
There is not a Lipizzaner. There is a fjord pony.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they
Um,
Yeah.
there is a Dale.
Oh,
I have-
the old pony's so stocky.
Probably have some just like
Dale.
standard warm blood, which is your generic cookie cutter horse.
Sure, there are those.
You just go with that. There's a lot of horse breeds.
There's a lot of horse going on in this game right now. More
What
horse than
are
I expected.
horse?
Yes.
Dude, I'm sorry, there's so much
I-
horsing around.
Hey.
You should
Oh my
be
god, I'm so
proud.
tempted to go for like the dinky little black one, but that's not something Eminence would do.
The dinky little black one like walks up and like starts sniffing you and starts nibbling on like your shoulder just a little bit.
It's
I
so
love
cute.
Look, I really wanted a black horse. I'm taking the dinky black one.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's okay. I can put your saddlebags on Arden. I think he's big enough that he can carry your supplies for you as well.
Thank you. I have to come up with a name for my dinky black horse. I need to write down in my things that I
Is-
have. Dinky black horse.
Is anyone else planning on getting emotionally attached to these
Oh god,
horses?
he's gonna kill our
course.
Oh no!
horses!
Oh
But
no!
of course, he's gonna kill our horses. We haven't.
I mean, not
found
if you
one
take care of them.
Yeah.
Natalie would try and find something that matches her temperament. Like, just she kind of just like walk through and like try and find
sweet,
something
but
that's very
prone to fits of
calm.
rage.
Huh? Well, yeah.
Said very sweet, but prone to fits of rage.
Honestly, that's a bit of a mood for me personally as well. Yeah. Something chill.
Is tarpon a thing?
What it?
Eh,
I don't know.
can't-
Sure.
Yeah.
There's a
Frisians will
tarpon.
die.
There is a tarpon.
It's got like a significantly shorter mane across the neck, and its body is a little bit more stocky. Its legs a little more rised up.
Yeah, it's like a subspecies of.
Yeah, I was gonna say, aren't they like they're not domesticated horses?
Yeah, they're like a.
They're
It's like
wild.
yeah, they're kind of like donkeys, but horse strength.
This one is.
Such a weird group of horses we've got. We've
Yeah.
got-
Oh yeah. Well, I don't even have a fucking horse. I've got a stag. I'm not even.
Also, I hadn't really heard the word dinky before, so I looked it up, and it either means disappointingly small and inconsistent, or attractively small and neat.
Aww.
Aww.
Little sweet, cute horse.
Is
Or
that
anywhere in
little compact?
between. Yeah.
Yeah.
Its name.
It's the smart car of
I was
horses.
gonna say it's like a. It's like
Yeah.
I hate Nissan cubes, but in a good way. The Nissan cube of the whole world.
I'm looking. I've used a random name generator, and one of the top suggestions is Hamas Nancy. So
Yeah.
Hamas Nancy.
Hamas
That's an
Nancy,
incredible
or it
name.
could be Cramgner.
Hamas
Oh,
Nancy
that's
though sounds like I am fancy.
Yeah. No, this is my horse's name. All one word. Nancy Huge.
Nancy Huge.
Yeah.
It's like naming Little John.
We love an ironic name.
Okay. Who else is up for a horse?
Look, as far as
Sure, I should get a
horses,
horse.
one that works.
You find many horses with 4 legs and a head.
Yeah.
Is there anything in particular you're looking
No,
for?
Not really. As long as it's not a donkey type horse, like a regular horse, maybe white would be nice.
There is a white horse.
Cool, I'll take that.
Technically they're called grey horses. White is not a coloration that exists in the horse world. FYI.
There is a
Like,
gray
it's
horse.
really special.
There is like the
Okay.
differentiation. But what the fuck is that word? Between like a horse that is white, that looks white, and one that looks grey though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's so
So-
dumb that they call
so-
grays.
Just to be, thank you for the lesson. Also,
You're so
I'm not being
welcome.
sarcastic there.
You need to work on your
I
non
mean, like,
voice.
Even when you
I know.
say not being sarcastic, it sounds sarcastic. Anyway,
It's
so
so
like
built
not being sarcastic, but like, thanks.
Oh Lord.
You done, Dom. This is see how quickly it spiraled after we got called Team I?
Oh Lordy.
So just want like a
don't
white
need to,
horse like Shadowfax.
Okay,
That's all I
you
want.
do not- well, Shadowfax.
Oh, don't even mention Shadowfax in my presence.
Oh no, Shadowfax is an Andalusian, I think.
He's also the Prince of Horses, so you know.
You don't get that. We don't
Pretty
have.
big call that he's in a random army camp. Just like, you the Prince of Horses here?
Not like the
And
books,
may I
'cause
hunt him?
I mean, like the actual one in the movie that was not in fact a magical prince of horses was just a nice white horse.
You
Dom,
find a nice white horse.
We're being like
Thank you.
shits about it. Generally, you can like just sort horses into like work horses, riding horses, draft horses.
There are a lot of riding horses and
Yeah, there would
draft
probably
horses.
just be- Yeah,
Excellent.
I think we can just assume.
Yeah, maybe we
Great.
should move on because I think Dom's going to spontaneously start bleeding from the ears and eyes.
Uh, okay, the 6 of you have, the 5 of you have horses and a stag. What would you like to do?
Probably go.
Natalie, did you say that you wanted to check the town out before we left, or is that something you can come back to?
She'll kind of like pull out the wooden horse from her bag. And tell them the story of like how this was the item of the son of the farmer that she's been staying with. And she just wanted to. She will explain that she just wants to get close to the city so that she can do something nice in his memory. So nothing that'll take too much time. And if she's allowed, she'll just spend some time to just get near it. And actually, instead of placing the horse down, she'll keep that for herself. She'll place one of her little rope soldiers in like a little clearing and like just make it nice and neat and just as like an homage to like what happened and kind of like a promise that it won't, well, not that it won't happen again, but like that she'll do better.
Yeah, you're absolutely given that moment. Some of the researchers there escort you, but as you start kneeling down to bury this, they give you some space and they allow you the room to say a few words.
Mm.
And shortly thereafter, the 6 of you find yourselves on your horses of choice, making your way out of town, away from Goldford, yet again south towards Val-Eter. And that is where we'll end this session after
It's a
way
shame.
too many horses.
The horse debacle, which brings
Oh.
horse debacle of episode 4.
Yeah, and we
Episode 4, the
absolutely-
horses.
Yeah, we got ration as well for
Yes, yep.
the
Yeah,
trip.
probably just, like, basic things like tents and stuff that
Yeah.
Aery and Eminence definitely wouldn't have brought with them.
Enough to. Is there a town between here and Val-Eter?
There is Farwatch.
Okay, so I guess we would have rations probably for the whole trip because that's kind of just an in-betweener town. That's not.
Yeah, not super huge. You could probably buy food off of other merchants that are traveling on the road as well.
Just to spice it up with something fresh every now and then instead of rations.
Kind of knowing what Eminence and Aery are like though, Natalie will kind of like always hold on to those last 2 rations just in case they forget to eat.
I love that every single other character is just trying to keep Eminence and Aery alive.
Honestly,
mean-
at some point in time, we should just stop for a weekend and see what happens.
We're
You
not
know
actually
what will happen.
stupid. We just somehow just play our characters like they're fucking idiots. You're really smart.
I know.
Amazing.
We're smart dumbasses, okay?
They are babies.
We don't have the
Yeah, we're
street
babies.
smarts.
We're
The
Very much think that you do.
the smart dumb.
Actually, I feel like you guys
Let's-
only have street smart.
Let's
Yeah, it's a weird combination, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Are we getting distracted again?
Yeah. But
Yeah.
we're ending, so